What's going on, guys? Welcome in, welcome in. Let me fix the spelling. We'll get started here shortly, guys. Well, just adjusting the chat overlays and all that. That should be updated. It shouldn't say what I think it says. Okay, let me make sure YouTube is connected. Cool. You're hearing double on YouTube? Go on, ABC. Yeah, things are actually not going well in the war. Let me know if you're... Yeah, YouTube's fine. Sounds fine. Yeah, thumbs up with your end. Double check that. But thank you. Let me know if you guys notice any weird stuff. Just setting everything up. You're getting notes and all this shit in order right now. Crystal clear on your end? Great. I got a fresh coffee. That's how we got to start. If you're hearing an echo, it's got to be on your end, dude. Everybody else says it's crystal clear. Maybe refresh your stream. I don't know. Are you guys getting an echo? I think everything should sound pretty normal. No echo on Twitch. There you go. Sounds good. Yep. Yeah, it's on your end, brother. Mm-hmm. All right. Just making sure all platforms are connected. There we go. And setting up the overlays. We are live, bro. Welcome in, guys. We will get started here shortly. Yeah, just making sure our setup's good. All right, you see, so that's not firing. 1 second. I know what the issue is here. Simple fix. TTS. And YouTube. Oh, maybe not. That is broken. Can't hear our TTS voice. Interesting. So Raw Melon, brother bro, good morning. Just went to the laundromat, saw a chick with her legs up on the dash, covered in the most diabolical hair, only in Oregon. Sheesh. Let me try to replay what the hell is going on. Or am I missing a button here that turns that on? The beep works. Q pulse works. That's all connected to TTS. Oh, sorry, my volume was off on that. Okay. User error, let's replay. See it working in real time.
At Rotten Melon Productions donated $4.99. Brother
Cool.
Bo, good morning. Just went to the laundromat, saw a chick with her legs up on the dash, covered in the most diabolical hair, only in Oregon.
Well, all right, there we go. We got it working, boys. We're nearly ready to rock. Okay. We did some major updates on the app. Did I appeal to get live? No, they still struck that video. Nothing changed on that end. They're really anal about showing weapons on an actual stream. So, yeah. What's up with the title? Threats? Did I spell something wrong? Ceasefire following Trump makes more threats. Oh. Yeah, what are you talking about, bro? Okay, anyways. Dude's triggered because we had an S at Trump. The Redditors are here. The Redditors are watching. Excuse me, your title. I like when I mess up the title. Sometimes I do it on purpose. It's a content thing. They don't even know. The pedantic fat Redditors come on and they're like, excuse me, it's an apostrophe at the end of T in between S. Excuse me, you don't know how to type. Excuse me, Trump's name doesn't have an S at the end. What the fuck? Shut up, bro. Go touch grass. Excuse me. Excuse me. Can I get my Reddit gold? Excuse me. Grammy, I owned him. Owned. Oh, he can't spell owned. Wow. Holy shit. Good morning, everybody. Let me pin this at the top of these chats, and then we're nearly ready to rock. I'm just making sure the app doesn't crash. So we're just running it for a few minutes. But everything is active. We ran like a 2-hour stream last night. You guys didn't catch it because it was... I told you not to come watch. I literally said, do not watch. And then a couple of you just showed up to watch. On purpose. So I was like, hi, how's everybody doing? Hey, yeah, you were in there? Yeah, I saw. I think you were in there. Yeah. I remember. You were in there indeed. Yeah, we've been having. We did a massive overhaul. We'll run through the app later, but we've done some pretty cool stuff. And I've already noticed some bugs. Opus 4.7. It's doing really well, to be completely honest. I've had 0 issues with it. No complaints. I did have to push back on some of the coding. It wouldn't listen to me. So, we found a major bug last night. And by complete accident, because the chat was dead, we had maybe 20 people viewing. And my status indicator showing that I'm connected to the platform literally turns yellow, saying we have a connection error, because every 30 seconds, if it didn't get a message from the platform, it thought the connection died. So I was constantly getting disconnected without understanding what the hell was going on, just by pure luck, by absolute pure luck. Found out with a dead chat because I tested myself. I just wrote test in my own chat, and voila, all of a sudden we reconnected. It got the message and then would disconnect 30 seconds later. So yeah, we figured out a bug, a big one, and Claude was leading me down the incorrect path. You know, it happens. So you got to be able to push back against shit like that, or else you could be doing updates for 4 hours on nothing. So the last 2 days I've been spending essentially doing these updates with my app. And dude, I think nonstop for 2. I blew my $200 max plan. I maxed out the Claude design feature they just added. I've done so much stuff. Honestly, I've shipped over 100 commits to the repo already. Yeah, it's stupendous. So I like it. When it works, it works really well. It's just I was shipping so many big updates so quickly that obviously things were bound to be broken. I messed up. I started shipping updates on UX of all things, like the layout, the design of the app, and I paid for it big time because a lot of things that got moved around started breaking. I didn't do any big updates on the things I should have, so I was moving stupidly slow on things the AI would be good at. And when it came to doing things that actually requires a careful hand into, like, hey, you have to look at everything, I went super fast on that shit. I was like, you know what? We're going too slow. He's like, are you sure, monkey? And I was like, yes, stupid. Speed it up. Do massive code base changes. Like literally transforming the application. And don't message me until you're done. Like 6 hours later. He was literally running for 2-3 hours. I would come back. He shipped, I don't know how many fucking commits, dude. I already maxed out the context in the Claude Code session. Like I'm nearly a mil at all his. He's like doing testing in the background and everything. And I got boned for it. Because then I had to discover, you know, through manual use, so many things that had messed up. This is not the way. Well, no, see, you're saying I expected the AI to be a mind reader? Not at all, actually. Yeah. What actually ended up happening is I shipped the incorrect state of the things we were trying to do, if I could explain it that way. I spec'd the program, or sorry, the update incorrectly, and I paid a price for it. But it's fine. So, all that is fixed now. We ironed out all the little bugs. Yeah. That was literally the hard part. It's done now. But be careful when you're shipping huge updates like that. And I am pimped out in the merch, boys. Indeed. I'm just adjusting my chat box right now because I have so many little updates to it. I can mess with the text sizing and all that stuff. I'm just trying to make it look nice. There we go. So I could read. Yes, so we got new shirts, obviously. Obviously, I'm decked out. We got new shirts. We got... What is this message here? There we go. Yeah. So, new gear. I gotta say, look how good this came out. Oh, come on. Tell me, dude, that's not fire. Come on. I've been wearing that everywhere. It's just, and people stare and say, they don't really say nothing. It's not like the red hat. You got the Goy mug. My mugs are still in transit. I had a delay for shipping. Here it is in the shirt form. Fire, dude. And then I'm wearing the Just Vote Harder one as well. So they came out really good. I really like these. Yeah, sweet. The hat. We have multiple colors for the hat. I was going to do black again, but I'm missing a white hat. And I figured this is just too clean. I had to do it. I had to do it in white. And I had a funny idea to do a Israeli version. Instead of the normal stars here, we do the 6-point star. I was thinking about doing that one later. No hoodies yet. I'll make one for you if you want. It's not a problem. I figured I'll do the hoodies later, fall and winter. You need a new hoodie? Yeah, which of the design? I guess I'll just put up a hoodie design for both. Whatever. I still need to do stickers and some other stuff. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Everybody that's been, yeah, just tuning into the stream every day, donating. Obviously, thank you. It's out the kindness of your own heart. I really do appreciate it. Everybody that's been getting the merch, the mugs. Dude, a ton of people are getting the merch. Like, they really like it. So it's hitting. So and I'm doing this all by myself. Believe it or not, all these are me. I'm just designing these. I don't have an artist. A lot of them, honestly, got screwed by AI. And love your top goy. Is there an independent shirt? I don't know. I would have to think up something cool. So I tried working with artists, but they're kind of inconsistent. And yeah. And anywho, I guess we'll get on to the vote harder, goys. We have a bunch of stuff to cover today. We're going to be covering the Iran updates. It's been a while. We haven't done an update on the situation with Iran in probably like, I don't know, it feels like a week or more. And nothing's really happened in the past week that was really groundbreaking. There was just discussions and a ceasefire. And we were kind of waiting for news to move a little bit. Things were a bit slow. Trump did do some pretty cool things, though, that we're going to watch post discussion on Iran, on our Iran update. I saw that he's finally legalizing, or he did already, psychedelic use for mental disease. But that's a step in the right direction. So we're going to watch that. We're going to find out what the hell that video is about. I have it saved here. I'm super interested in seeing that they're reclassifying psychedelics. I'm a huge proponent of them. They've helped me dramatically for my mental health. And it put a smile on my face. I was like, okay, only Trump would do something like that. So, not all, but Ibogaine. I don't know what he allowed. I haven't seen the video. I'm guessing mushrooms are part of that. I would say, hopefully. If not, at the very least, it opens a pathway. So, you know, this is what we voted him in for, to do the things that Big Pharma would hate, Big Oil would hate, all that stuff. Sometimes, you know, he has his bright moments, but unfortunately, there's been a lot of clouds overhead. So it's hard to say. Okay. I just take it one piece of news at a time. I don't hate Trump. I don't like Trump or dislike, or, my feelings are very neutral. It's just, here's what you ran on. Here's what you need to do. Not happy with the fact that you didn't do that. Yes, I heard about the Cuba invasion also. And yeah, there's just inconsistencies on him campaign mode and him president mode. And we're just calling out the hypocrisy there. So as far as the Iran war goes, from what I've been reading, let me turn off this stuff. Someone said, if Pfizer produces the psychedelics, steer clear. Yeah, Alan, that's correct. So information is constantly coming out. So maybe what I'm about to talk about could be invalidated probably in the next 24 hours because we're getting reports back and forth on actually what's going on. So essentially, 21 ships we know for sure turned back from the Strait of Hormuz since the ceasefire started. And they have this USS Michael Murphy, and it's sitting in the Arabian Sea right now. And pretty much that amounts to like a full economic stranglehold on Iran, while Iran is managing who passes through its own waters, which means that neither side actually stopped doing the thing that, started this entire war, essentially. And if you really look at what's going on, so we're calling it peace on camera. Peace. We have a ceasefire, a peace agreement, peace terms, whatever the name they give them. Anyways, so Tehran's state media confirmed pretty much what every analyst was saying, that you could say Iran has no decision or no intention to send a negotiating team to Pakistan as long as the U.S. institutes the naval blockade and that stays in place. Meaning, Iran said no to negotiations about 2 hours after Trump announced on camera that both countries would be meeting in Islamabad tomorrow. So Trump says the strait is open. The captains are turning their ships around. The delegation not showing up. And the deal that everybody's been celebrating since Friday was already dead before anybody sat down at the table to discuss it. Markets are going wild. Everybody's happy. Crude has crashed. At least paper crude has crashed. So there's this declaration contradiction of what Trump constantly does the whole week. The story for the entire week, honestly, this entire engagement, war, whatever you want to call it, special operation, it doesn't matter. It's the same shit over and over again the whole week, right? Trump, Friday night, posted that NATO countries were begging to help him coordinate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. And then Spain's foreign minister came out literally 10 minutes later on X and calls him a liar and said they never called Trump at all. Then Trump said Iran agreed to let the United States collect the leftover uranium from the destroyed nuclear sites, using, in his own words, the biggest excavators that you could ever imagine. We're going to go get the nuclear dust. The nuclear dust? Okay. Right. So again, right after that statement, Iran's foreign minister came out the next day and said transferring enriched uranium out of Iran is totally rejected. And then the IRGC followed up with a separate statement calling any claim that Iran would surrender its uranium a complete lie. So Trump said also that there's going to be no tolls, no toll booth style system set up at Hormuz. Okay, Iran is already imposing them and restricting passage to commercial ships. And they're only going through that Iranian designated route that's close to their coast, with Iranian authorization required for every transit. That is a toll. Okay, and his position on the Hormuz itself in one statement Sunday was that the Hormuz is closed anyway, and that closing the Hormuz is actually good for us. And if they don't open the Hormuz, he will end them. Three positions that cannot be all true inside the same sentence, delivered on camera in front of reporters that are supposed to, peak of a peace negotiation. And China's foreign ministry responded to all of this on the podium in Beijing by saying, essentially in public, that the strait was already open before you went to war, Trump, and you are actually the one who closed it for the rest of the world. In the past tense, one sentence. They deliver that shit with a smile. China's just laughing at this. They're looking like the adults in the room while we're dealing with, children? This is insanity. So, okay. You got American cable news, and they're trying to figure out essentially which three of Trump's positions were they're supposed to, I guess, push. Fox got one, CNN got one, MSNBC got another one. So when you have a leader that essentially is telling you like 3-4 different things in the span of minutes, and then tweets 3-4 different things that contradict each other, you're starting to see the propaganda machine go in overdrive. Like CNN will attack him, Fox News will glaze him. This is the administration currently at war. It seems like Trump just changes plans at the drop of a hat on a whim because Iran's foreign ministry or the IRGC or somebody else posts on X confirming there's not really any talks happening. We're not interested in meeting. The toll booth is open only for Iranian allies or anybody paying in Chinese yuan. And so Trump reads that, sees the news that's propagated very quickly that he looks like an idiot. And then all of a sudden it's open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards. And then the next minute, we're talking with the finest people in Iran. There's no problem. And then another minute, we don't even need the straight anyways. Keep it closed. The rest of you could open it. To now we're going to close the straight. And do you remember that Besant a week or two ago when we were watching that video? He was just telling that woman that she's not framing. She can't frame the question properly. Their 5D chess plan was leaving the strait open for Iran to ship oil so that oil prices stay low. All of a sudden, we've reversed it. Now the 5D chess move is we're closing the strait for everybody. So, I mean, what else do you call this other than Trump visibly losing his fucking mind? And you can see it in how he spent Friday morning on True Social. He wasn't focused on the deal his administration was brokering. He was attacking Tucker Carlson, call him like a low IQ. Candace Owens is dumb and mentally ill, dismissing Megyn Kelly and Alex Jones. And then he's posting a CNN propaganda graphic of his own approval rating against those same conservatives because it makes him feel good. They were trying to, on CNN, say that those people, the people that were the strongest, most ardent supporters of MAGA and Trump, that elevated his platform, that their platforms are now dying. They get millions of views. They're doing better than ever before. And then a White House staffer went on record this weekend saying that Americans would be shocked to learn how many hours every day the president spends watching AI-generated videos of himself on Truth Social posted by bots depicting him as a superhero or an Air Force pilot or an army general or some dictator like Julius Caesar or Jesus. He posted himself. He posted himself as a Jesus-like figure, and that pissed off so many people he quickly deleted it. And then he tells a reporter, that's insane, that his voice was hoarse because he'd been screaming at Iranians all day because it's the only language they understand. And by Sunday, his message was that the entire country of Iran will be blown up again, threatening them if they don't make a deal. So he's back to the bridges and the power plants being named specifically as targets on camera, which is a Geneva Convention war crime. This is why. This is literally why the Geneva Conventions exist. Because publicly announcing that you're going to destroy civilian power and bridges before any strike removes the ambiguity of a war crime. Prosecution usually has to work around stuff like that, you guys. He's painting himself in a corner. And the announcement comes, or I would say the announcement itself, when he makes these tweets, that's just proof that we have evidence of intent. No, never has a president in a live war ever had something like a Twitter and his own access to quite literally just put slop out. Like the things he's actually thinking about, he just tweets them really quick. And it's like, oh, war crime. Oh, impeachment holdings. Oh. So imagine you're a lawyer watching this that's trying to gun for Trump. So he removed that legal question by putting it on camera multiple times throughout the war, and then on X, And the only reason that nobody in the Pentagon is publicly pushing back is because literally, like I told you last time, Hegseth fired all the JAG lawyers and the top brass whose entire job was to say no or was saying no. And we covered that, I don't know, maybe a year ago or a year ago, an update ago or 2 updates ago. I can't remember which one we were talking about, Hegseth and the brass, essentially, being purged. These were the final people that were saying no. And these were the very people that didn't want to do the uranium dust retrieval by plane, which all of a sudden we had the story of the F-15 pilot being rescued by AC-130s or C-130s of some designation that are the cargo version, plus little birds, plus some other planes in support, plus like 100 units of men there with it looked like an absolute heap, a junkyard of planes that were downed or blown up or whatever it was. If you got little birds, imagine this. Uranium, sorry. Might as well call that shit Iranium now, because it seems like Iran is the only country in the world just not allowed to have that. And guys, if you have little birds in the area with a ton of operatives, it's most likely the Night Stalkers flying in special forces units like Delta or DevGru or something like that. We don't send all of these assets to sweep up one pilot or two and then make up a crazy story about how they got stuck in some sand and we had to blow up our own planes and then send more planes and more people over to rescue all the other dozens, 50 plus people that are already there. It's Black Ops. It's a story we probably won't have until 100 years later when finally you're able to, I don't know, get a FOIA request to find out what actually happened. So that's that. You know, who knows at this point? The fog of war is so thick. The administration is lying about almost everything. Iran is lying about everything, of course, too. I mean, the strategy of ambiguity, you can't let them know your next move. It's just Trump doesn't keep his mouth shut. So even Trump doesn't know Trump's next move. It appears this way. And there's reports, and we're getting them. You know, I think it was the Wall Street Journal that broke a story that makes the JAG firings look like context, because the American military advisors intentionally kept the president of the United States out of the situation room during that F-15 downing for the pilot rescue, whatever you want to call that special operation. They were afraid, and this is crazy, it's been reported that this is inside his administration. An aide obviously is leaking shit. His erratic temper would jeopardize the mission and get the pilot killed. So the commander-in-chief, if you can believe this shit, was kept out of his own command room by subordinates who believed that the mission had a better chance of succeeding without him. And then the Wall Street Journal also reported separately that this week that Trump pushed his generals for a marine assault on Karg Island, which handles 90% of Iran's oil exports, which everybody's heard that number by now. And then his own military walked him back because the casualty estimates would be politically impossible to absorb, which is the same dynamic in a different room a few weeks earlier. Think about that shit. That's not just a simple policy dispute inside the administration, you guys. The military itself is actively, quietly even, working around a president that they've stopped trusting with live operations. Isn't that crazy to say? And at the same time, and this is what makes it even crazier. The same time all this is being reported, JD Vance is on camera. And a reporter asked the vice president what he advised Trump before launching the Iran war. And his answer on camera was, "I don't want to go to prison." The sitting vice president responding to a question about his pre-war advice. I kid you not, you can find the video. Openly flagging his own criminal exposure on camera with a straight face. Hello. The vice president saying, "I don't want to go to prison." Holy crap. Let that one sink. Just like let it land really quick on what's actually happening here. So God, where to even keep going? This shit is insane, dude. It gets worse. Okay, look, we have all the bases that are destroyed, 13 of them. Our THAAD systems, our interceptors, we're running low on a bunch of stuff. Then I saw that the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad just told Americans to flee the country. Think about that. The embassy told Americans to flee. So do you do that when peace negotiations seem to be moving forward, when the ceasefire seems to be solid and holding? Nope. That's crazy. And then the president, when he gets asked about this by reporters, I saw this recently too. He literally tells them, nope, we're done. That's it. End of story. One reporter literally asked Trump during a press briefing about the Iran war, and he's like, that's it. Everybody out. We're done. We're not talking about this. What? And then you have the man, this guy, Vance, one heartbeat away from the presidency, can't even answer a basic question, you guys, about, his own advice because he's worried about his legal future. This is insane. Has this even ever happened? Like, such a massive break, by the way, that the vice president can't answer that. Because this is going to have reverberations in 2028, which Vance is eyeing to be the front runner for the Republican Party. And you have to cover your ass for a war that J.D. Vance was reported to have told in the very beginning. It's burned in my brain. One of these random facts that just for some reason stick. In the very beginning, it was reported that J.D. Vance, not Rubio, that J.D. Vance actively lobbied the president and advised him to go full bore on Iran, to give him everything we've got. And Rubio was the one that was a little more conservative in his approach. All of a sudden, Vance is now the same guy that is trying to distance himself from all of this. Vance is the same guy that's going to be sent to negotiate in Islamabad. Vance is the same guy that's looking to bring down the temperature and institute peace. This is the guy that was pedal to the metal on crushing Iran with a decisive blow. I remember those headlines. That's the crazy part. So the people that are close to Trump are doing the same self-protection math with their money. Think about it like this. A Washington Post intelligence analyst, he was on fucking CNN, and he laid out that someone shorted oil markets again to the tune of hundreds of millions, exactly 20 minutes before Trump announced the ceasefire and the Hormuz reopening. And his phrasing was that the Trump administration is prioritizing self-dealing over peace. This is the same pattern, guys, that we've been tracking for weeks on the poly market, that insider wallet. And it fits together with the Treasury that's suddenly extending the Russian oil license to prevent gas prices from spiking at home. Plus, the White House budget director flat out refusing this week to disclose the actual cost of the Iran war. So they won't even tell us what the Iran war cost to the United States Senate. They're telling senators that the numbers are fluctuated and are difficult to assess, which is him stalling until after the deadline. The money is being moved around while the information that would let you judge what's happening is being withheld from the very senators that you and me elected to judge it. Isn't that crazy? It's insane. That trade, by the way, was $720 million. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how many hundreds of millions in profit were made, but then I'm not sure if it was the same wallet or a different one, but another $800 million trade was just opened up, again, deep in the money. If this isn't insider trading, who gives a shit about the war continuing or going? If the people at the top are making quite literal generational wealth, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Does Does this register and clock with anybody else? Like this corruption on a massive scale, both the insiders in Iran and the insiders in America can just go back and forth. Peace deal on the verge of happening. Iran closes their strait again. Trump threatens them, oil spikes, all that stuff. Iran says strait is now open if anybody wants to use you on. You know, troop buildup, bombings here and there, ceasefire announced, let's just talk it out. And then on and goes. And how many people are actually profiting from this? We just know of this wallet because it's the most reckless of them all. That's the only reason that we know about this specific wallet that's been like 5 for 5 on $100+ million trades. How many other people, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 orders removed from the insider source is trading this shit, I don't know, to the tune of tens of thousands, couple hundred thousands, only a couple million, and making out like bandits? How do you trace that? Those look like normal positions that happen to be good and in the money. The amount isn't so bad. When you have something like a record $800 million trade being open, 20 minutes later, the market either craters or shoots up like a rocket, and that position is instantly in the profit, hundreds of millions of dollars. No one has godlike timing like that. Somebody is getting rich off of the war, which is disgusting when you consider the fact that we're now bombing or talking about bombing civilian infrastructure. People, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, children, daughters, sons are going to get blown up and killed while somebody somewhere around here is making hundreds of millions of dollars. Double tapping the emergency response crews that come to help these people that have been injured by the first strike and then killing them too. We look like the devil in the eyes of the world. Anybody talking about what is just and getting justice? Is this what it looks like? Was this justice for 170 schoolgirls plus the people that came to dig them out the rubble, their parents being double tapped? Is that justice? So we've investigated ourselves and find out we've done nothing. This was all because the AI mistargeted. We have to have moral superiority in order to be able to have these discussions. You can't tell another nation what their sovereignty means. You can't tell another nation how they should govern themselves, how their society should be set up, and what is morally right or wrong if you can't hold yourself to a moral standard. It's like, you know, the devil telling you how you should be. You're the devil, bro. You're a degenerate. You're a demon. You engage in the worst of mankind. You're over here giving me a moral lecture about how I should behave. It's like, please, the hypocrisy. It's too crazy. We have no leg to stand on. How can we tell these people who they should be, how they should behave, what they should think, and how they should govern themselves and run their society if we're the monsters that are also bombing bridges, bombing hospitals, bombing laboratories that are making vaccines, bombing colleges? We're bombing a bunch of infrastructure, not just a bridge. We've bombed actual institutions inside of Iran that have nothing to do with the war. It doesn't feel good to be on the Team America for this. It doesn't seem like we're doing the just thing. And that's politics. You know, there is no real good versus bad. There's just, it's a gray line and it gets more gray at the ends. And it's like, where do you stand on this gray line? Because nothing's really good. There's no morally just anything in politics. It's just a little less shit or a little more shit than the status quo. So, yeah. Were we the good guys ever, historically speaking? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we're just slightly less bad than the other guys. Or maybe we were worse than the other guys and we managed to beat them. We don't know. We don't know how these things shake out. Or maybe we lived long enough to become the very evil we were fighting to get rid of. That's also another thing, right? Are we now the oppressive empire which Britain used to be to us? Are we now the oppressive empire oppressing everybody else the way we were oppressed at the founding of this nation? Questions to ask, man. And then meanwhile, Iran's position has not moved an inch since the war started. 3 weeks, they have the same demands stated in the same exact words. The IRGC spokesperson, he comes out Friday with a direct statement, always the same shit. The Iranian uranium, that's Iran's asset. It's going nowhere. Their enrichment is managed by their Supreme Leader's office, and that report claiming that Iran will give up its uranium is a lie. They keep repeating this. The foreign ministry then said the same thing on a separate occasion. Then Iran's parliament speaker released a 6-point statement after the markets closed on Friday, listing out 7 specific Trump claims from, 1 hour of speaking and calling every one of them false, including the central claim that Iran agreed to unrestricted Hormuz passage. The Iranian professor who was actually at the negotiation table said publicly that Iran knew from the start that the U.S. wasn't serious about peace and that the talks were theater to let Washington save face. Sounds like what we've been doing. And then Iran delivered a line this week that nobody in cable news will repeat because it sounds like trash talk, but it's actually framing of a strategic trap that Iran already sprang on us, which is that the Strait is reopening for the rest of the world, but not for Trump specifically. So Iran tied the Hormuz reopening directly to the Lebanon ceasefire, and then they forced Israel to stop bombing Lebanon as a price of the Gulf commerce resuming, which means that Iran has given up nothing except letting third countries do what they were already doing, while extracting a halt to Israeli strikes against an entirely different country they were actively at war with. That's a genius strategic stroke of brilliance right there. So Sky News and everybody else that was covering that, because mainstream media here won't, are all saying it was like brilliant victory. They essentially managed to isolate the Trump administration, which they have, and they're not wrong because that's exactly what's happening. Iran also told Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE and Bahrain that Iran will not attack them as long as no U.S. or Israeli military personnel are operating from their territories. And that Saudi Arabia turned around, think about this, and then told the U.S. and Israel they will no longer allow their airspace or territory to be used on strikes on Iran. This is the same Saudi Arabia that like 2 weeks ago was saying that they will pay trillions of dollars to keep the war going and that they want to increase the kinetic effort of the war. They want to have troops on the ground. They were lobbying Trump to finish Iran off. All of a sudden, that has also reversed, according to reports. We'll see how it shakes out. They have until Tuesday, right, to negotiate, whatever it is. So, or Wednesday, whatever. Then there's the Netanyahu trap, the Israel trap, whatever. We've been tracking that one for like the past month. It got confirmed by a former head of the Israeli military intelligence. This guy went on record saying that Israel created worse than it started. This is the situation that Israel wanted, a worse one, by systematically killing all the moderate Iranian officials who would have negotiated a ceasefire with us. They purposely left only the hardliners in charge, which guarantees that we're going to be in a forever war because the people that are still in power on the Iranian side, you have to think of this. They have zero interest in peace. And I don't know if Trump finally understood what was happening, but he told Netanyahu that enough is enough for this weekend on Lebanon, that stop bombing them as part of the ceasefire negotiations. This is the biggest public break of the war so far with Bibi. If it's even a real public break or this is some kind of cover that Bibi is giving Israel, we don't know, honestly. And within hours, Israel struck Lebanon anyways. So this is now a continuing pattern, like 5 for 5 on Trump pauses. Bibi essentially doesn't. Trump pauses hostilities. Bibi violates them within 24 hours. The funniest part is they don't even wait a few days. Israel violates them within 24 hours. Sometimes less than like 6 hours. So a U.S. envoy reportedly scrambling now to prevent Turkey, if you can believe this shit, from becoming the next Iran, because Israeli strategic planning is already talking about Ankara and why it was the next target on their list. Can you imagine that? So let's say we destroy Iran, or at least set them back enough. Israel hasn't had enough. Israel wants Turkey next. Israel wants to control all the straits. Turkey's president, Erdogan, already was saying and threatening Israel and saying that it's not going to go the way they think it goes if they don't stop hostilities in certain regions, and it's tied to Kurds and some other stuff. And Israel has already had these reports coming out over a year ago saying that Turkey is now becoming a problem for Israel, that Turkey's actually the real issue and the real wedge that must be dealt with, obviously because they've essentially dumped Iran on our lap. And then they're going to expect us to pick up with Turkey, who is a NATO member, and we're probably going to think about pulling out of NATO because they didn't help Trump, and Trump says NATO is useless because a war America started is not a defensive war, and so NATO's not obliged to join. But in the eyes of Trump, that's a backstab and a betrayal, so NATO must be disbanded because you're all useless and didn't bomb a random country alongside the United States of America. So that's going to be interesting how that plays out. Should America leave NATO and then NATO somehow disbands or holds out for the next president who will rejoin NATO? He must get congressional approval and all this other stuff. But there's a lot in between there. But let's just say, imagine theory crafting a world where we actually disband NATO. The EU is the only defense architecture left for EU nations. And then Turkey is left out in the middle of nowhere by herself. And now all of a sudden the propaganda machine begins to turn on Turkey. And Turkey is now some thought in the consciousness of Americans. Turkey's the problem. Erdogan is a dictator. Hyperinflation. Those people are starving. The economy is bad. Why Turkey controlling the Bosphorus is bad. Why Turkey needs to lose access to the Black Sea. And it all began. Turkey was funding extremists. Turkey now is paying for terrorist organizations all around the Middle East. Turkey has been undermining America. And then that's how it starts. That's how it starts. The social engineering of the American public. Think about it. You think this was going to really stop with Iran? Obviously not, right? So the war doesn't actually stop when the ceasefire started, if you consider this a ceasefire, because underneath the press conferences and all this shit, it's been a quiet 10-day military buildup. And they have a ton of independent intelligence analysts on TV or on YouTube, and they're laying out the details or what's seeing happening for this weekend, and it lines up with everything that the Pentagon is reporting. And essentially, the U.S. is flooding the theater with massive amounts of reinforcements. They're rearming every warship in range, and they're running maintenance on air assets around the clock. And the Air Force is now bigger than it was on day one of the war. Every high-value regime figure inside Iran surfaced pretty much from cover during the ceasefire to conduct the fake negotiations and, coordinate their IRGC cells. And then the entire time, the satellites and the human intelligence networks were building a complete target list on all of them. Strike planning is being run through AI models that process live intelligence faster than any previous war planning cycle could ever. The read on this all from these analysts and what we're seeing with the buildup is that when this ceasefire breaks, the next round makes the March campaign look restrained. We now have 50,000+ troops there. The Wall Street Journal added to its reporting this weekend that the U.S. was about to start boarding and seizing Iranian crude tankers in international waters across multiple continents, which expands the regional blockade into a global enforcement operation. So if we're preparing to do that, then maybe the ceasefire talks were bullshit the whole time. Is that in preparation of the ceasefire failing, or do we already know and are just preparing to be able to do a global enforcement? You have to ask yourself these things because they do one thing, say another. Something doesn't line up here. And apparently Iran knows all of this, and Iran is doing the same exact thing. The IRGC commander, that same dude that constantly gives the same little speeches, he said publicly on camera that this entire weekend, Iran is replenishing all their missiles and drone launchers at a faster pace than before the war started. Now, how much of that is him bullshitting for optics? Obviously, fog of war. We don't know. We don't know. We do know this, though, that towards the last few days before the so-called ceasefire happened, Iran was increasing the amount of missiles and drones it was launching. So they had a massive decrease as they were initially bombed, and our bombing campaign was successful. But what our media was painting to us and what CENTCOM was telling us, that they destroyed 90% of their capability, was bullshit. All our intelligence says we might have degraded half of their stockpiles. That's it. Half. So they began getting better at launching, and our interceptors were depleted, and Israel was getting pounded. Other assets in the Middle East and the Gulf Coast was getting pounded. Clearly, as the price of oil and gas, everybody was holding their breath as we were approaching 120. Again, critical numbers before the so-called ceasefire negotiations start again, and then oil crashed all the way down to 90, perhaps lower, 80, something like that. I believe 90. So can you imagine that? From 90%, they're degraded, they can't fire anything, to all of a sudden intelligence is telling us that 50 to 60% of the missile arsenal is viable. They've retained it. And they confirmed that they're producing more underground at a rate that closes the gap in weeks, not months, because they're on a full wartime economy, unlike us. All they're doing is producing that kind of weaponry because they're literally close to getting invaded. And then China, of course, again, used the ceasefire opportunity to flood Iran with fresh hardware. They gave them surface-to-air missile systems, radars, to drones, to live targeting from their intelligence satellites and their satellite network in general, that Baidu system. That's the one we've been tracking since the F-35 was shot down in the early weeks of the series, right? Remember in our Iran updates, people forgot about that again. The P-58 missiles from the IRST system. It uses lasers to track the heat signatures of these the F-35 engine is extremely hot. Something, again, I don't think CENTCOM was ready for. So they have successful downs of Stratotankers, F-35s, F-15s. They're successfully targeting bases, radar installations, radar domes, THAAD missile systems. They may have, it seems like, they shot up to 100 something, 11, 10, that the president says, missiles at the USS Ford. The Gerald Ford got shot with hundreds of missiles, the president admitted, and then all of a sudden, as that happened, the Ford retreated from Iran, went all the way up for maintenance in Croatia. Isn't that strange? Trump claims that we essentially shot down all 110, and that really the only reason the Ford was docked was because the toilets were clogged. Some shit like that. There's a fire in the room where they fucking clean clothes and shit or something like that. Random excuses for why this most powerful super carrier, the largest one, the most capable that we have, all of a sudden just retreats from an active war theater. And if you ask a question like, hey, that's weird. Why would that, of all assets, be forced to dock in Croatia for some routine maintenance of like pipes and the laundry room and some toilets? Isn't that weird? And if you question this, you're some fucking shill for the administration or against the administration, or you're some CCP agent, or you're a panikin. Exactly. They call you a panikin. Yeah, they apparently clogged the toilets using toilet paper. So isn't that weird, right? Okay. And then both sides are using the supposed peace. Think about that. To load up on weapons and everything else. It's loaded, dude, for the next round. Except the only difference is that Iran is now coming out of it better because they got new SAMs than it had the day before the war. the day on the war, which means that if you think about it like this, the hardware asymmetry that favored the United States in March actually reversed a bit. If we believe that they do have better weapons from China, maybe Russia handed them more shit because it was reported, and Israel was very mad about this. Another random piece of fact that I remember. I think it was the S-500. My brain forgets the number. S-500 or S-700. Whatever. The anti-air system that is like cutting edge for any nation, even including the United States. Russia handed Iran one. That's the very system that was used to down the F-15. That was the early reporting from Israel newspapers, and they were in shock. Like, how could the Russians do such a thing? Why would the Russians hand them over a state-of-the-art anti-air system, radar system? I think it was an S-500, if I'm not mistaken. That's the latest and the greatest that Russia has. So what else is happening during this ceasefire? Again, I want to say, if China's providing weapons and targeting data, if Russia's providing weapons and targeting data, the hardware asymmetry that favored us in March is reversed now. We're literally going to go in with a hardened, resolute, and better armed country, potentially, right? So let's find out what happens. Okay. Then the next round of strikes that we essentially are going to do with our airplanes are going to run into those defense systems that didn't exist on day one. And nobody in the administration is going to say this publicly, because the answer to that question is that we already know American casualties will go up, and CENTCOM doesn't want to report that. The rest of the world is quietly done waiting for America, because the leaders in Germany and in Britain and France and Italy announced late, and obviously mocked, rightfully so, by Trump. They're sending their own joint naval mission to the Strait of Hormuz after the U.S. has done most of the heavy lifting, right, to protect the freedom of navigation. They will do nothing. The Europeans are dickless. It's just an exercise of circle jerking each other. And they're going to do this apparently without U.S. participation. And they did this from a 49 country summit in Paris that excluded the United States entirely. So the EU wants to institute its own kind of blockade busting union coalition of countries. Fuck off. So Europe's got its own problems with Russia, its own energy crisis. It's being invaded by migrants. It's got governments that hate its own people. They're already broke. The welfare state is being milked to death. Europe is in no position to do anything in the Strait of Hormuz. Sit down and fix Europe first. Then you can go back and be relevant. I'm saying this as somebody, obviously Romanian, born in Europe. You would think I have the closest ties and affinity to Europeans. I do, of course. My people, our people watching this, if you're European ethnic, Europe is in no position for any of this shit. And then Saudi Arabia has privately assured Iran that it won't let its territory be used by the U.S. or Israel in any more operations whatsoever. Because they've ran out of interceptors. The United States can't protect them. They don't want their assets being bombed, because a few more refineries down in Saudi Arabia is catastrophic for them. One desalination plant going offline is catastrophic for them. And the United States cannot guarantee safety. And then Turkey, what we mentioned earlier with Erdogan, is pivoting publicly, right? The European initiative is the first major multilateral security operation in 80 years that deliberately left the United States out of the room on purpose. And, excuse me, Trump spent this entire weekend attacking NATO on Truth Social. Instead of calling any of the leaders. Obviously, he loves to do this shit publicly because he believes, or at least I think he believes, or whatever he's being told by the people that are still willing to talk to him and, tell him that the real problems going on the ground, he believes they're not grateful enough and that they're not real allies, and probably looks at them as like enemies. So can you imagine that? Trump saying that his allies aren't grateful enough because he opened the Strait of Hormuz or blockaded it on purpose. when it was already open and functional and commercially active, and there was no problem, and all the ships were getting through for free without any tolls, and somehow they're winning now because of him inserting himself into another Middle Eastern war, which is the craziest thing to think about. So, you know, all of which lands essentially like this, as they always do, right on the kitchen table of whoever is watching this shit show. The Treasury extension of the Russian oil license was done to prevent gas prices from spiking during the war. This is what we said about Iran earlier, which essentially means that your government is quietly buying Russian oil from, you know, the sanctions regime it built to fund Putin's war in Ukraine. Mind-blowing 5D chess there. And they're doing it to mask the cost of the Iran war so you don't feel it at the pump before Wednesday's deadline. Makes perfect sense. Haven't we been fighting Russia via Ukraine proxy for how many years now? Now we get to buy their oil. Now we lift the sanctions. Does any of this make sense? The biggest budget director, the budget director is refusing to tell sitting senators what any of this is costing. Somebody is making hundreds of millions of dollars shorting the oil markets every other day, it seems. Somehow, perfect timing, minutes before major announcements. And that somebody has to be close enough. Has to be within a few degrees of separation to the administration, because none of this timing, none of this shit is coincidence, despite whatever they try to tell you. Your retirement account, think about this, is the pool that those trades are clearing against. Your mortgage rate is still at a 7-month high because the bond market does not believe any of the claims of victory coming out of the White House. Japan just dumped the largest amount of treasuries, I just read that one, in like the last 30 years. Japan just dumped a record high amount of U.S. treasuries. And the Pentagon will not tell you how many Americans died because they don't want Wednesday's conversation to include a casualty count. Wednesday is the deadline. We're all waiting again on another deadline. And nobody on either side of the table has agreed to what happens when we get there again. And Trump's position is that if there's no deal reached, he'll start bombing every shit again. All Iran to the Stone Age. Open the strait, you bastards. There's nothing left of your country. Again, bridges, power plants. He named them specifically again as targets. Iran's position stays the same. It's not sending a delegation to Pakistan for any negotiation in Islamabad. I have conflicting reports that it will be led by J.D. Vance, and then there's other reports saying Trump won't let J.D. Vance go because of security risks. So it's literally written that the delegation Trump announced that he is sending hasn't even been confirmed by Iran or by his own vice president, because his UN ambassador said that Vance leading it, and Trump was saying, no, Vance isn't going. Both are on record. It's hours apart. Don't know which is true. Iran says they're not going anyways as long as the blockade remains, so fuck off. We're not even going to go meet and speak with anybody, so. Okay. And then the 72 hours after Wednesday are Netanyahu's window, essentially, because his pattern is unilateral strikes that force Trump back into escalation. He's 5 on 5 for every single pause that Trump has tried to set. And nothing about last week suggests that the pattern is about to break, you guys. Whatever he hits next carries nuclear. It sounds crazy to say. Nuclear proximate risk. Is it possible? I don't know. Is it possible? Somebody wrote, Iran just rejected the peace talks. There you go. What else could you possibly target? The obvious remaining high-value targets are near that Bushehr plant or the mountain facility, and Moscow already warned that Russian personnel are in those zones, and it is a red line they will respond to. Are we willing to cross that? Then the deadline breaks, and when it breaks, Trump is going to be left with two options, essentially, right? Neither of which he can survive, which is you extend for a third time. Think about that. And then you watch your own base finally lose faith in every threat he makes after that. You can't cry wolf so many fucking times. Or you follow through on the bombing and hand every international court on earth a file to open with his own quotes as evidence of targeting civilian infrastructure before the first strike was ordered. Pick either door. The presidency is smaller the next morning than it was the night before. He has no way out. He's trapped. But all of that is the kinetic war. And the kinetic war isn't the fight that Iran is winning in all of this. While everyone watches the bombs, the Iran toll booth at Larak, it operates. It still operates. The Iran-Oman Maritime Protocol continues. And it is advancing through their parliament. The yuan payments are settling through all these Chinese banks every day that this continues. And every single day of this ceasefire is just the day that Iran locks in more of the post-war architecture into the legal cement that survives whatever happens militarily. The strikes hit, the casualties mount on both sides, doesn't matter. Iran takes damage. The toll booth still operates at 6 a.m. the next morning. They're still collecting millions of dollars. Iran already won that fight weeks ago, you guys, and every additional day makes it harder to unwind because the longer the system runs, the more countries route their commerce through it. And the more expensive it becomes to tear down a piece of infrastructure that the global economy already started to depend on. Do you understand? So the Situation Room exclusion means that potentially the next live mission gets the same treatment. Because one advisor, or I should say, once the advisors make that call and the mission succeeds, they make it every time after that. And a command structure fracture during an active war with no modern precedent accelerates fast once, you could say, families of the dead start asking questions, yeah? That happens the moment Major Klinner, I believe was his name, widow decides to tell the New York Times what she actually knows about how her husband died. And the moment that happens, the Pentagon press briefing stops holding. Think about that. The casualty count will come out. The news cycles will all cover it. The administration's narrative on the war fragments in real time. The names attached to the dead start getting revealed, potentially. Guys, the midterms are 6 months out. The anti-war majority is already over half in public polling. Whoever owns the failure of this deal essentially it's catastrophic. The losses in November have to be absolutely insane. And unfortunately, both parties, the establishment of both parties, back this war, which means that the failure owns both of them. The first candidate in either primary who runs against the war gets a clean lane that hasn't existed in a decade, and the incumbent class on both sides already knows it. Who is going to be the anti-war hero that rises from these ashes? And the markets, well, they'll figure out Wednesday faster than the press corps does, because the insider trading's already priced in Friday's announcement. That's crazy. 20 minutes before Trump made it. So it means that the network around the administration knows when decisions get made and then trades before the announcements go public every single time. The SEC case that eventually opens on that trade forces the next wave of disclosures. Because once you start subpoenaing trading records, you find out who knew what, when, and who else was on the phone that morning and which calls came from the inside of what building. That's what actually cracks this open, which is a single trading record with a name on it, ending this administration before the war ever can. Because the war doesn't end administrations. Evidence does. That's assuming the SEC will investigate the administration. Don't know if that is possible in the current administration that we have. Another thing that remains to be seen. Someone mentioned something about missing researchers. I haven't read about that. Yeah. We'll see what everything shakes out We're only a few months away for finding out what will happen. Is there a blue wave, or are the constituency of both Republicans and Democrats so exhausted at the establishment that, I don't know, somehow Republicans eke away a win, or it's somehow neutral? We'll see. I'm curious. Neither Democrat voters nor Republican voters are happy right now. Let me catch up with some supers and then we'll do commentary on some of these videos. I got a bunch of them. Welcome in, everybody. If you're getting here late. Early bird gets the worm, my friend. Let's see. I want to find that final ultimatum with Iran. We'll start there. Let me fix the chat. Okay.
At the Carousel Painter donated 10 euros. Hey Bo, went on Aaron's stream the other day and said you mentioned him and he confirmed he tried to reach you. He said you can get back to him via asshole consulting. It's up to you.
Bro, he added me on X and he never sent me a message. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He added me on X. I added him back. He's not doing anything. Perfect. Hey, thanks for the sub, brother. Welcome. I got a Twitch sub. That's great. Shout outs to, I think there's 19 people. Is this correct? On Rumble, there are 13 people watching, 19 on Twitch, obviously. Oh, sorry, that's the chat. Sorry, there is, I don't think anybody on Rumble. The Rumble and Twitch counter are broken. That's about it. There should be 405 of you on YouTube and 46 on Kick. I don't know what's how many are on Rumble. Let me see. 13, so that's not live. Let me write this in the notes. I'm keeping a list of notes here for my app. NPC time for a second. 2 in Twitch. Okay, so Rumble and Twitch view counter broken. Let's see. Notes. Rumble and Twitch view counter broken. Shows 0 on both. Okay. This is post-stream fixing. Okay. Let's continue.
In a moment, we will bring in Energy Secretary Chris Wright. But first, we turn to Fox News Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yangst in Israel. Hello, Trey.
Shannon, good morning. Today I spoke with President Trump for about 20 minutes regarding the situation in Iran. He tells me if they do not sign the deal this week, the whole country is going to get blown up. The president went on to say we are preparing to hit them harder than any country has ever been hit before because you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. The Middle East ceasefire is set to expire later this week in under 72 hours. And it comes after the Iranians fired on 2 vessels that were passing through the Strait of Hormuz on Saturday. The president responding to those Iranian actions.
Got a little cute as they have been doing for 47 years. Nobody ever took them on. We took them on. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no leaders. They have no nothing. Actually, their leaders are, it is regime change.
Iranian leadership appears to be disconnected, with the foreign minister announcing the Strait of Hormuz was open, only to be criticized by other officials through state media. Iran's parliament speaker, one of the key figures in ongoing talks, also directly contradicted President Trump, saying this.
There you go. You
Our
see?
dear people, the strait is under the control of the Islamic Republic. Do you remember that they wanted to send minesweepers and clear the mines? Well, we stood firm against them and confronted them. We considered this a violation of the ceasefire, and we said that if you take this action, we will strike. We even went to the stage of clash, and they retreated.
With a focus on Iran, eyes remain on Lebanon, where a shaky ceasefire is holding despite some activity. Israel launched at least 2 strikes against Hezbollah, describing actions as self-defense. 1 Israeli soldier was also killed and 9 others injured this weekend in an IED blast on Saturday.
The goal we defined, disarming Hezbollah by military or political means, was and remains the goal of the campaign to which we are committed, while now a significant political lever has also been created with the direct involvement of the President of the United States and the commitment to this goal, while exerting pressure on the Lebanese government.
The clock is ticking, and this fragile ceasefire across the region could end any day. Shannon?
All right, minute by minute these days. Trey, thank you very much.
So
Joining us
nothing's
now
happened.
is Energy Secretary Chris Wright. Great to have you back on the show today.
Great to be here, Shannon.
Okay, and we start with a lot of breaking news. The president has said this morning that if Iran does not reopen the strait, come to the table, sign this deal, that he's going to wipe out every power plant and every bridge.
He already made that threat. This is what's crazy. He made that threat already. You already basically, without saying directly, threaten nuclear, I was going to say exchange, but they don't have them. You threaten to destroy a civilization. That's weapons of mass destruction talk. Now you're back onto the power plants and bridges. Think about that for a second. There's nowhere else to escalate after this. So if these fail, which they look like they are, this ceasefire talks, what do we do next? And what is the administration being coached to do by those that are left around Trump, essentially, and Israelis? Because obviously somebody admitted that we were reporting to Netanyahu first thing. Netanyahu confirmed that Vance, the first thing he was doing was reporting directly to him. That sounds insane. Who the fuck is Israel anyway? Isn't it crazy that a small country like that, a tiny country, a blip of a piece of land, that their prime minister can say that you, the most powerful country in the world, report to me first, daily briefings? Huh?
In Iran, what do you make of the situation where we are right now?
Look, I think things
That's
are actually
wild.
going quite well for the United States. I think we are not too far away from a deal, but of course, these are the dying gasps of a desperate regime that's for decades pursued a nuclear weapon, and they see that effort is going to come to an end.
Well, the IRGC said
Hey, thanks for
this
the sub,
weekend,
bro.
even as the president was saying Iran's never going to shut the strait again, they said, no, you've got to come through us. So it sounds very much like they are still in control of the strait. Accurate?
Well, they have missiles that can threat travel through the strait, and people don't want to take risks. I think everyone understands this situation will be cleared out for good. Why risk an encounter a few days early?
Yeah, because there were these major maritime groups like BIMCO, for people who know. I mean, they handle a lot of the shipping and what happens within that industry. And their chief security officer had put out on Friday an urgent safety message saying that even though the president's saying Hormuz is open at the time, he said, no way, there's status of mines threats there. It's understand that shipping should consider avoidance of the area. It is not safe for transit. How do you quell those fears that the industry is going to continue to have over actually getting ships moving again, which will actually change the global impact of what's happening with oil and gas?
Yes, that'll take time, but probably not too much time. There are negotiations with the Iranians going on, despite what you hear in the chatter in public. I think those are actually going well. I think
This is 3 hours ago, bullshitting you. These are going well.
before long, you'll see an agreement that achieves the United States end. puts an end to the 47 years of terrorism launched from Iran, and probably launches Iran on a better trajectory for its own people as well.
Well, and there's the worry, too, about the people, because I know that's been part of the conversation from the administration is wanting to help the Iranian people themselves. The leadership, obviously, a different story. But when the president talks about blowing up every power plant, every bridge, how does that complicate things for if the people do have an opportunity to rebuild there, and how far it sets back some kind of recovery for the country?
Look, the president's using every way he can to get leverage over the regime to bring this conflict to an end. He's a creative negotiator. He uses pressure in different ways. He uses uncertainty in different ways. And I think, as you've seen over the last 16 months, it generally leads to good results. I don't think we'll see any surprises here. I think we'll have a nice end to this conflict and have the Middle East
Listen to this shit.
not have a constant terror, a constant
Holy
risk
crap.
over the regimes in the area, the economies in the area, and ultimately the flow of goods through the Straits of Hormuz. Imagine a nuclear-armed Iran. Not far away from that reality. This is going to put an end to it.
So how would you consider, what would you consider a win? What would you consider the finish line? Is it the Straits open, there's no threat there? Is it us taking the enriched uranium? It's a vow that they will never again have a nuclear program. What's the finish line for the administration?
Yeah, the finish line is confidence that the Iranian nuclear program is over. That's not a threat that's coming. Because that's a threat we can't.
If it's over, why do we need it so bad? And by the way, China offered to take the nuclear material. Russia offered to take the nuclear material as a way to speed up talks for the ceasefire. Trump declined both. Why is everybody so interested in all this nuclear material?
Dismantle. So a successful outcome is the threat of nuclear-armed Iran is over. The Straits of Hormuz are open. Commerce and peace returns to the region.
Okay, it's a heavy lift at this point, but we'll see, where we get in the next couple of days of negotiations, what sounds like the president's final offer is on the table. I want to ask you about this issue as well over Russian oil, the allowance of it to be on the market in some respect during this conflict and during the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
Tell him, sell me on that. Sell MAGA on that. We're giving Russians so much potential to earn money. They're literally just filled to the brim. Their coffers, all the sanctions, us destroying SWIFT by sanctioning them out of SWIFT. All of this shit has been for naught now that Russians are allowed to sell oil so we can continue our war in Iran. 5D chess if I've ever seen it. Fucking hell. The same country that is supplying Iran with weapons that are downing our assets in the sky. The same country that is using Russian satellites or Russian targeting or Russian intelligence to destroy our bases. We gave that country that's actively hurting us, the way we're actively hurting them in Ukraine, we're giving that country the right to sell more oil on the international market. You can't make this shit up if you even fucking tried.
A number of Democrat senators issued a statement Friday saying that we're giving Putin a great advantage. They say he's been the biggest beneficiary of Trump's war against Iran. Russian oil saw revenues nearly double in March. They say enough is enough. President Trump needs to stop letting Putin play him for a fool and impose additional sanctions on Putin, who is clearly not feeling sufficient pressure from this president.
Wow.
Yeah, of course, it's remarkable to me how many just irresponsible, ridiculous things the Democrats say.
Holy fuck, dude. Have you ever seen, bruh? Have you ever, we got to hear that again, seen the level of glaze, deflection, and bullshit?
Enough is enough. President Trump needs to stop letting Putin play him for a fool and impose additional sanctions on Putin, who is clearly not feeling sufficient pressure from this president.
Yeah, of course, it's remarkable to me how many just irresponsible, ridiculous things the Democrats say. They just keep doubling down on stupid.
They double down on stupid. They're doubling down on stupid.
Democrats say they just keep doubling down on stupid.
Oh my fucking.
Perfect.
That guy's a genius. Wow.
At Death Ice Enough donated $10. You should watch The Man in the High Castle, an alternate timeline if the Access won World War II. I watched every episode. You'll love it. There's minimal
seen
Western
it.
propaganda. There's gunfights and plot twists.
I've seen it. Man in High Castle is amazing. It's been a while though. I forgot so much. I need to rewatch that. Well, the only good movies are old movies. I don't want to sound like a boomer, but this new shit is garbage, yo. Hey, I need to hear that again one more time, Earl.
Ridiculous things the Democrats say. They just keep doubling down on stupid. This is pragmatic stuff. The Russian oil is sold to China. Russia does sell their oil. It goes to China. We've just made a pragmatic humanitarian thing in the...
We're the pragmatists now. Pragmatists. Oh my God. We're about solving problems. Pragmatism. It's humanitarian. Humanitarian, guys. Listen, Russia just bombing the shit out of Ukraine. We're just going to humanitarianism the shit out of the world right now. For humanitarian causes, we're going to allow the Russians to sell their oil while they continue their war in Ukraine. And then arming our enemies against us. We're the humanitarians here. I can't believe boomers eat this shit up, you guys. Hey, vote harder, you fucking morons. There it is right here. Look, put it up close. Zoom in, camera. Where is it? Give me this. Right in front. Focus. Come on. Give me the focus. We're not stopping until we get the focus. There it is. There it is. Vote harder. Oh, it's hard to get focused because of my face. There it is. Get your fucking hats, boys. Get your hats. Okay? Vote fucking harder because shit stays the same. It has not changed for 40 fucking 60 years now. It's all the same. Just vote harder, Daddy. Just vote harder. Maybe one day you stop getting invaded by illegal immigrants. Maybe one day you'll be able to afford to go to the hospital. One day your job might pay you enough. One day corporations might not be poisoning the shit out of your water, your food, your air, anything else. Maybe one day your tax money will actually go to not having potholes, drug addicts on the streets, criminals actually being in jail, and your kids able to play outside without them getting snatched up by fucking creepers or third worlders skinning and cooking cats. A Nigerian just went viral in America for cooking a fucking cat in a park. Yes. Superb. Superb, eh?
At LVMR donated $4.99. Silver is about to be $350 per Oz in 3 weeks. Hand with index and middle fingers crossed. Good luck. Christus Voskrais.
Oh. It'd be crazy if it really did go to 350. You'd have the greatest call in the world. What is it at right now? Like 70, 80?
Short run to say instead of having all of that oil...
Hey, Ascendant, what's going on, brother?
...go to China, let some of that oil go to India. Let some of that oil go to other countries in Asia that are going to refine that oil, power their people. And India exports gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel to Europe, who's also terrified about the price of their energy prices. These are short-term, pragmatic decisions to allow oil that was already flowing to flow a different direction. And they're temporary.
Okay. Quickly before we let you go, I want to ask about this question. We're going to cover this later in the show in a little bit more in depth about these missing scientists and people who've been turned up dead, some of them with connections to nuclear or to things involving UAPs, that kind of thing. And the president has now addressed this, saying that he's been in a meeting. Something is happening, at least as far as looking into it. And then we get a report. It's actually the Department of Energy where some of this is going to be centered. The National Nuclear Security Administration telling us they're aware of the reports about the employees' labs, plants, and sites. They're looking into the matter. Is there a formal investigation within DOE?
There is. There's a coordinated investigation across various branches of the government. But yeah, a lot of the nuclear security, nuclear scientists are in DOE. So yes, of course we are looking into this.
All right. Anything more you can tell us about that, or when we might expect some developments or public information regarding that?
Too early to say about that. We haven't found anything alarming yet.
Okay. Well, keep us up to date and let us know. Secretary, always good to...
Wow. Superb levels, Secretary. The glazing, never before seen. Stupendous. Okay, let's pull up. I don't think I even have it on the computer. Okay. We gotta see this video. Okay. Here it is.
Tremendous.
Beautiful. Let's get into it. Was there any other video here to watch? YouTube issue resolved? Yes. Well, technically, they still dinged me, but lesson learned. Yeah.
Professionals, medical professionals most.
So this is a bright spot in his otherwise, yeah, so far shitty presidency.
And some military like Marcus, some great.
Yeah, boys, if you haven't, head over to Kick. Actually, you know what? We'll continue the rest of this song. Should we? No, I have to do every platform. I want to continue the rest of this on Kick. If you haven't, go head over to Kick. I'll link it again for all the YouTube guys. I need to test a full, long live stream on all platforms and see if anything weird happens. Let me post that real quick. We'll stay on all of them. Normally, we would go there exclusively, but it's ad-free on Kick. There you go. Posted it. Yeah. We're sparing everything because we have to test like Twitch bits. We have to test Kicks. If anybody would be so kind. We have to test Kick subs. Twitch ones worked. We have to test. Hey, what's going on, Zippy? We're just continuing the stream. We have to test all of these, guys. So please continue as you normally would. And yeah. Let's see. Trump announces reforms on psychedelic drugs.
Military.
Also, go to Kick in case anything ever happens with YouTube and all the other episodes on YouTube. We can't watch on live stream. I'll have to post them later. There are certain videos on YouTube that has music on it, or if it's showing weapons or anything happening in a war zone and there's like rated mature stuff, where we can't do that on YouTube. So if you want to see that on the live stream side, just be subbed on Kick.
Professionals too, real hero. Today I'm pleased to announce historic reforms to dramatically accelerate access.
Link isn't working? 1 second. How's the link not working? Ah, it's not letting me link. Did I lose my ability to link some shit? Let's see. View the channel. Let's see. View the channel. Weird. Okay, let's try that again. I'm just going to post the link once. Did that work? Okay, that worked on my end. Okay. I'll fix that. Is there any difference? Legion of Men YT, kick.com. Nope. Okay. Let's continue, boys.
New medical research and treatments based
I just
on
linked it again, yeah.
psychedelic drugs. In many cases, these experimental treatments have shown life-changing potential for those suffering from severe mental illness and depression, including our cherished veterans. Our veterans are having a tremendous hard time. You know, the suicide rate, we have it down a little bit, but they are having a hard time. And I got a call from a number of people, including the great Joe Rogan. And he said, we have to do something about this. And I looked into it. I called Bobby, I called Oz, I called Marty and Jay. And it was uniform support. And I said, so why would we wait 3 or 4 years to get it done?
Yeah, Joe Rogan was standing behind him.
Frankly. Let's get it done immediately, and that's what happened. This has probably never been anything happened so quickly. Everybody is so strongly in favor of this. It's for a lot of people, but it's for our military in particular. The suicide epidemic among veterans is a national tragedy since 9/11.
This is actually a really decent thing he did, and he did it very quick, only in the way Trump could. No other president. This is what's so infuriating. What could have made him legendary. Like, go down in history as one of the best in the modern world to do it. It's exactly this. Stuff like this, if he could have just done this kind of stuff that benefits Americans and moves through the bureaucratic bog that is the government, he would have gone down in history. Dude, he could have altered the course of America. Instead, we got more of the same swamp shit. Wars.
11, we've lost over 21 times more veteran lives to suicide than on
like
the
this is
battlefield.
genuinely is
So
a good thing.
Think of that, 21 times more. And today we're bringing them new hope. I think you're going to see a big difference and a big reduction in that number. I want to thank Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's a fantastic, where are you, Bobby? Over here. Where is he? Always makes it difficult. Come here, Bobby. He's done a great job, too. And people love him. And more importantly, your wife is here someplace, Bobby. She's out there. Where are you? Where are you? The real boss in the family. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for being here. As well as FDA Commissioner Marty McCary, CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz, NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. See how easy that name is? You know, it used to give me a little trouble. That was a tough name. Congressman Morgan Luttrell, who's a friend of mine and he's a real
Joe's
warrior.
right there, dude.
He knows something that a lot of us will never find out about. Retired U.S. Navy SEAL Marcus Luttrell, the two of
Let me
them.
slightly speed it up.
What's in your blood, fellas? You guys are good mom and dad. Good. Yeah, good somebody. Good to have you. Joe Rogan, who's a fantastic person. We did a little interview before the election. We had over 300 million people. And I said, oh man, I hope Kamala doesn't do it. And she didn't. He wanted her to do it, but she didn't. Someday Joe's going to explain why. I could tell you why. But along with many other, because she didn't want to, with many other veterans. And I just want to thank the people behind me are outstanding. It's an amazing group. The executive order I'm signing, we're actually signing the executive order today, is really a moment. It directs the FDA to expedite their review of certain psychedelics already designated as breakthrough therapy drugs. They're very much being discussed. It's one of the hottest things I think you're talking about, Oz, right? It's nothing. If these turn out to be as good as people are saying.
Yep. They helped me dramatically. They changed me for the better. I say the story all the time. I don't think the YouTube channel would exist without them. Mushrooms are goated.
It's going to have a tremendous impact on this country and other countries too. These treatments are currently in the advanced stages of clinical trials to ensure that they're both safe and effective for the American patients. And the nice part is we're actually doing this early, but it has been going on. Research has been going on for quite some time. But usually with things like this, nothing ever happens, no matter how the research ends up. But we're changing that. This order will clear away unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles, improve data sharing among the FDA and the Department of Veterans Affairs.
The only thing I hope they don't do is try to synthesize them and then obviously put IP on that shit. And so you could only buy your synthetic derivative from name XYZ giant pharmaceutical company. That might be their play. It's like, bro, they grow in the ground. It's mushrooms. So you could just go pick them up. Obviously, it's nature's product. Somehow, some way, Pfizer or whoever, fucking Moderna, whoever, is going to synthesize the compound that actually works, strip away the rest that might have some complex relationship in the chemical composition of how it works naturally, and give you this highly concentrated, synthesized, one track. Oh, we've isolated this exact compound within the psilocybin. This is what actually does the rewiring of neurons and the, stimulation and growth. And then it turns out to not work like the natural component does, because we don't fully understand how all these chemicals interact and work on the brain. So then you have to go into therapy, which you have to pay for to be guided with this synthetic chemical that somehow is supposed to promise to fix some shit, which may end up leading to problems. And if it even does fix some shit, you know, compared to the full natural compound, they're going to ask an arm and a leg for you to go to therapy for some shit that grows in a shoebox. That's crazy.
And facilitate fast rescheduling of
grows in a shoebox in the dark. But here's why you need to pay me thousands a month to fix the problems in your head with my synthetic derivative of said shoebox mycelium.
any psychedelic drugs that become FDA approved, and we think many of them will go very quickly. And I have to say the most favored nations pricing that we established, that I established, has been knocking the cost of drugs down by 50, 60, 70, 80%. And I also want to thank you and Bobby for the great job you've done. It's incredible. And the press refuses to write about it. I think it's probably as big as what we're talking about today. The drug costs are going down. And by the way, Trump RX, which is the way you go to get your very low cost drugs. But when you think in my first term, for 28 years, drug prices went up, and I got it down 1/4 or 1/8 of a percent. I was so proud of myself. It's the only one that in 28 years got them down. And I had a news conference to explain how great I was. I said, I'm the greatest there ever was. I got it down 1/8 of a percent. Okay? I was very proud because it only went up. For 28 years, it went up. Now I got it down a little bit. And now I got it down 50%, 60%, 70% with these guys. So now I am, But nobody wants to write about it. But it doesn't matter because the people have found out and they're getting, we're the highest, we were the highest in the world by far. Sometimes would be 10 times higher than other countries. You'd buy a drug, I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. You'd buy it in London, you'd buy it for $10 for a pill, let's say, or a pill generally. But actually, to be specific, London, $87, New York, $1,300. I said, how can that be possible? How can it be possible? $87. And actually, a friend of mine called me up and he said, he's a very rich guy. And he happens to be on this Ozempic, I guess, at the time.
He's talking about Elon.
And it was not working, by the way.
He's talking about Elon.
Extremely successful, but highly neurotic. Got a lot of problems. I will not mention his name. He's begging me not to mention it because he's become quite famous. He's a big factor here. But he's very smart, very rich guy, very, very successful guy. And he said, hey, President, he used to call me Donnie. Now he calls me President, sign of respect. He said, I'm in London. I bought this stuff for $87. In New York, I pay $1,300. What's going on? I said, well, that's the way it is. We pay the highest prices in the world. And it sort of hit me that how ridiculous it is. Made, by the way, he checked it. He had a whole big research done on it because he couldn't believe it. Made in the same factory, same plant, everything was the same except the price. And now we are the lowest price. We are tied. In other words, whatever the lowest price in the world is, that's the price we pay. That's a tremendous difference. So we'll be paying, they go up a little bit. So the 87 will go like to 120 and we'll go down from 1,300 to 120. So we'll have these massive price cuts, and they've already started. And I think it's one of the biggest things, but unfortunately, the press doesn't like to talk about it. But because if I were a Democrat, it would be headlines all over the place. But so I do that. That's why I like live television, actually. It's great because you can't do any cutting. But we're so honored by that, and that's going to have a huge impact on this also, because the pricing, not only is it important, but the pricing is going good. And you're going to get the rescheduling done, right, please? So will you get the rescheduling done, please? They're slow walking me on rescheduling. Okay, you're going to get it done, right? In 2024 study from Stanford University, 30 special operation veterans with traumatic brain injuries underwent, it's called ibogaine treatment.
Ibogaine.
Remember the name. Is that pronounced relatively properly, would you say? Yep. I don't want to get it wrong. Ibogaine, because it's so important, and experienced an 80 to 90% reduction in symptoms of depression and anxiety within 1 month. Can I have some, please? I'll take it. I'll take whatever it takes. I don't have time to be.
He's good. He's good at this. That's how he won.
That works too. That's what I do. In Texas, Republican leaders have already committed $50 million to the ibogaine research, and today the federal government is making a $50 million research investment in its own, and so that was just approved just last night. We're also opening a pathway for ibogaine to be administered to desperately ill patients under the right to try law. That's a law that I started and I got, right to try. Very proud of that. That was done in my first term. And I used to marvel at the fact that people that were terminally ill could not get a drug They're terminally ill. They're going to die. And the FDA, right, Marty? That's right. Jay? The FDA was protecting them from dying, but they're going to die. And so we have these incredible drugs, and they may work and they may not work, but we wouldn't let anybody get them because they were bad for your health. But these are people that were going to die. And it never made sense to me. So one of the first things I did early in my term, and it was very tough to get, actually, hard to believe. It was very tough with Congress, but they came through, the Republicans came through. And we have something called Right to Try. And we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. That's if you're terminally ill or very ill, and there is a new drug that is not available because it's going through the process of the FDA, and Marty's cut that process down by 50%.
It's also another good thing. You see, this is what he should have spent his time doing. Such a waste, bro, to go into Iran and look like a fucking buffoon and turn on the very people that were, you know, poignant in you getting elected. They were the absolute premier supporters you had with the most visibility and the largest platform. Forget all that. Return back to America first. Just come back, dude. Legalize mushrooms so that we can heal mentally. Get rid of government bureaucracy. Cut taxes. Close the border. Just fucking deport all the illegals. Just focus on domestic issues. Strengthen us here at home. Give people their tariff dividends, right? Release all the Epstein files. Tell Israel no and actually sanction them. Do the things that would make you legendary and would actually turn a new leaf in America. You would manage to decline the eventual managed decline of the empire. You could even maybe kick off a golden age. You could have. It's not too late. It's not over yet. Just come back. Fuck Iran and Israel. The whole Middle East. Just come back to domestic issues. America first. Crush the Democrats. Destroy wokeism. Destroy all of this insane shit like kids getting surgery and removing their breasts and their penises and men and women's sports, and go back to that stuff. Get rid of the criminal immigrants. Make it highly visible what they're doing to our communities. Do that. Come back to the people that put you in power, that voted for you.
Down. It used to take 12 years, and now we have it down to 5 or 6 years, and it's one of the most important things that you can do. But if you're terminally ill and there's a new drug that may work or may not work, but it hasn't been approved yet, you sign a document, and you're not going to hold the country liable. You're not going to hold the drug companies or the insurance companies or anybody liable, and you have the right to try. And what it's done, and nobody wanted it, the insurance companies hated it, even the doctors, they were all afraid of it because they didn't want to be sued. But I took all.
See, what a good implementation of something so simple. You're terminally ill. They wouldn't give you experimental drugs because of you had liability. Doctors wanted to help you. You wanted to help you. The system wanted to kill you under the guise of protecting you. We can't let you take experimental drugs. Why? Because they can kill you. I'm already dead, bro. I'm terminal. Just give it to me. I might survive. The drug might kill me faster. I'm still dying. Something so simple. Create a system where you could just wave away your right to sue the shit out of the drug company, the doctor prescribing you, the hospital treating you, and everything else. Just waive all of your ability to hold them liable and get the experimental drug. He did that. That's great. You can now get experimental drugs because of that. Great. All of this shit, doctors have like 50, 60, 70, 80% sometimes of their profit that goes into just paying for insurance for liability. That's why we get wrecked by cost in healthcare, because liability insurance is so high, dude. It eats like 60% of a doctor's office margins. How fucking stupid is that?
All of the liability out of it. You sign a document, you're not going to sue the doctor, you're not going to sue the hospital, you're not going to sue anybody, including the country, and everybody signs it like immediately. And
you know what's crazy?
Tens of thousands.
If you're dying and before he signed that, they won't give you the experimental treatment, But some fucking company named Pfizer and Moderna and whoever else, they can develop a vaccine. They call it a vaccine and they have indemnity. You can't sue them. They can develop a product, lie during trials, get it approved, as happened during you know what, be responsible for the deaths and the increase of deaths of hundreds of thousands of people, and you can't be sued for your product. You cannot stand by the quality of your product. Is that not fucking crazy? But I can't take a drug that could potentially kill me when I'm already dead. How beautiful is the system that we're living in? This is supposed to be a system for the people, protecting the people. But I can't sue a vaccine maker after being injured by a vaccine because they had a law passed, I believe, in the 90s, that, or maybe in the late 80s, that basically made them immune to lawsuits because they bought out the very people that pushed the bill and got it passed. Money dominates our system, unfortunately. The same money that's been dominating our system for 100 years plus, once the central bank got created. The very same system that's dominating our presidency. If you're a donor, like Miriam Adelson, Trump is a golden child. He has no limits, bro. You just hand him money, he does what you need. Almost no questions asked.
Thousands of people on this, and we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. And what it has done, we never thought of it so much as, but what it has done is in some cases these drugs are working so good, it literally cures people that were terminally ill. But it's one of the things I'm most proud. I'm proud of a lot of things we've done, but that's one of the things we're most proud of, right to try. But I've always believed in ensuring that the American patients have access to breakthrough treatments and therapies with love for our veterans. And I have a real love for our veterans. I was with a group yesterday. It's incredible what they've gone through. And care for American patients. Today's order will ensure that people suffering from debilitating symptoms might finally have a chance to reclaim their lives and lead a happier life. You know, just lead a happier life. They've been through so much. So I'd like to ask Secretary Kennedy to say a few words, followed by Commissioner McCary, Marcus Luttrell, Joe Rogan, and anybody in the group that would like to speak. You're tremendous people. I know many of you, and you're really highly respected people. And the Luttrell family is well represented, but I don't mind having both Luttrells. Both Luttrells can say a few words, okay? Great people. And so, Bobby, do you want to start it off, please?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thanks to the leadership of President Trump for making this historic day possible. Under the executive order, HHS will accelerate research, approval, and access to new mental health treatments, including psychedelic therapies such as ibogaine. We're taking this decisive step to confront one of the most urgent public health challenges facing our nation, the mental health crisis. More than 14 million Americans live with serious mental illness, and 1 in 4 adults experiences a diagnosis.
Hey, at least we're getting something, you guys. I know they failed in banning glyphosate. At least we got psychedelics potentially. Glyphosate was the one thing that we were supposed to get rid of that he was so ardent against. He also had an incredible book on Fauci and COVID. He had a great book. That's kind of what launched him on the national platform. But, you know, hey, big business, guys.
Disorder each year. Suicide has risen by more than 30% over the past 2 decades, with another peak in recent years. Among veterans, more than 6,000.
How crazy is this picture right here? Dude, you're Joe Rogan. You started a podcast in your basement. You're just talking to your homies. And if someone told you fast forward in like a decade, you're sitting behind the current president and you had a direct hand in passing legislation that legalizes or paves the way for legalization, or at least mass consumption under medical supervision of the very psychedelics you are a huge proponent of. That's a crazy arc, we have to admit.
Die by suicide.
I was so into, I haven't watched Joe Rogan recently. I don't know, some of his guest choices. There was a lull there up here where he kept bringing on his friends, his comedic friends, and they suck. They're boring, not interesting people. I love those episodes where he's bringing on scientists or archaeologists or dudes talking about absolutely crazy shit. I don't know if he's done more of that recently. And then it seems his tone shifted too. He kind of watches what he says and he has to double check everything. Before, like, there's an old Joe, like the golden age of the podcast. He would just say whatever the fuck he was thinking. And he would dive into the weeds and topics a bit. Now it seems a bit sanitized. Oh, yeah, the Mike Baker. I'm so sick of seeing that, dude. He came in like every other day at one point. Yeah, something weird happened. He's had to sanitize his man. They came after him, though. They tried to brand him a racist. They tried to destroy him at one point. He was under a ton of pressure. But still, he had people on at critical points in history that needed to be on to speak the truth, and it had a sway in where we are today. Similar to, and not, of course, the same measure of importance, but like Elon buying Twitter and turning it into X was extremely important. And same shit with Joe Rogan, his podcast and the things that he was able to speak out against. You can't forget. Like, look, you might not like some of these people today, but you can't discard their importance. Like, you can't say Joe's a sellout, he sucks now. Like, hey, dude, he was the only one talking about early days in COVID. What was that? What was it that he was telling people to take? Do you guys remember the name of that? I'm blanking for a second here. The horse dewormer shit. They were telling people not to ivermectin. Thank you. Joe was the only one early when you would get banned on YouTube for talking about taking ivermectin and how it would help you. CNN made a hit piece on him and changed the color of his face. They made him look sick and shit. Yeah, they made him green. So early days during the lockdown and the craziness and all that shit, he was actively talking about ivermectin and how to get it and where he was treating himself and some of his friends. And he's like, dude, I just got over COVID like it was nothing. They made his ass yellow or green. So I don't know where this purity spiral shit's happening, where somebody says something you don't like and that discounts everything that they've ever done up until that point. Please fuck off if you're one of these people. Seriously. I'm always going to ride for people like Joe and, you know, some other people in the administration. And these people, I don't care that they're not perfect. You're never going to align with them 100%. They are going to lose your respect on some things. That's fine. You can't 100% agree with anybody. You can't 100% agree with me. I say shit that pisses people off all the time, my own followers specifically. All the time. But that doesn't discount your repertoire of everything. That's all I'm saying. That's what the left does. That's a leftist take. The left is the snake that eats its own tail. The left, if you're not pure enough, if you do one thing that they don't like, they completely cast you out. That's a leftist mindset. Don't be that. We on this side of the aisle get to have differences and still shake hands and support one another, despite the fact that we have said differences. We don't cast each other out. So I'm not going to cast them out. I could be annoyed. I could tell them they're fucking idiots. I could maybe stop supporting them on certain issues. Maybe I'll stop tuning into some shit here and there, but you're not going to get me to disavow and you're not going to get me to completely cut them out. That's also bullshit. That's a leftist take right there. I don't subscribe to leftist retard mentalities.
Each year since 2001, we have lost far more veterans to suicide than to combat. At the same time, millions of Americans living with depression, PTSD, addiction, and other conditions do not respond to existing treatments. We owe it to our warfighters and veterans to turn over every stone to alleviate the emotional and mental health blowback from their deployments. It's disturbing to me and to the president that hundreds, in fact thousands of veterans are having to travel to Mexico or other countries to experiment with interventions that hold great promise, but for which our knowledge is still insufficient. This executive order will remove the legal impediments that block American researchers, scientists, physicians, and clinicians from properly studying these medicines and, where appropriate, establishing protocols for their safe therapeutic use. We're directing the FDA to prioritize therapies that have received breakthrough therapy designation, treatments that early evidence suggests may improve what we have today. We're expanding the use of right to try, so that eligible patients with treatment-resistant conditions can access these therapies under medical supervision.
Hey, yeah, you see, that's an adult take. Love most of your content, not a fan of your war info, but still enjoy your content and keep listening. Exactly. Some people like my takes on dating, and then other people hate my takes on war. Other people are the reverse. They love my takes on war. They hate when I talk about dating. You know, it just depends. Some people love when I talk about men's issues. Other people hate that shit. Or race. Race is a funny recent one. Some people are like, I love your takes on race. You're so based. And then other people will be like, you're fucking racist. I hate your takes on race. Can you just stop? Like, because they love the other takes. That's normal, dude. You're never going to have 100% support from anybody or anything you ever do. This applies to any friend you have, any business you ever start, anything, period, you ever do. You can never be 100% aligned with people. It's just we're different that way. Das racist, give me that.
We're also coordinating with the DEA and the Department of Justice to begin rescheduling reviews after successful phase 3 trials. When the FDA determines that therapy is safe and effective, patients should not face avoidable delays in access. At the same time, HHS will work with states, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and other federal partners to strengthen research and share clinical data. We will use that data to support faster
Racist pick Squirtle over Charizard. That's a fact.
evidence-based decisions. Through our
And that's the hood pick, too. Hey, you know why Squirtle's the hood pick? Because he evolves into some motherfucker with guns. How ghetto is that? You pick the one Pokemon with actual guns on him.
HHS will allocate, as the president says, at least $50 million from existing funds to partner with states that are advancing these therapies. We will support those efforts with funding, with technical assistance and data sharing consistent with applicable law. Researchers at Johns Hopkins, Stanford, and Harvard, and other leading institutions have reported meaningful and, in some cases, extraordinary clinical improvements. If these results continue, these therapies could offer longer-lasting relief.
I have the same exact feeling, Tech. This is just a distraction for the war. This should have been done years ago. Now, suddenly, out of the blue, they drop a little crumb on us. Yep. Something normal moves through like this. I'm betting the war ramps up huge in the next week or two. We'll find out by Wednesday for sure. Hey, we can hope, right? I hope hostilities end and we go back to normal, but geez Louise, dude, if the last couple of months hasn't shown us a pattern yet, I don't know what to tell you.
Not just symptom management, and reduce economic burden of mental illness, which costs this country hundreds of billions of dollars every year. This policy creates a...
Every once in a while, though, the Goyim are thrown a crumb to satisfy the masses, the bloodthirst, to satisfy the thirst of the goys, you know, distract them, give them entertainment, give them bread. It will be okay while we insider trade for millions. The goyim are too stupid to ask real questions. Give them a crumb. They will be pacified. It's true.
Science-based
it really is,
pathway
dude.
for FDA approval.
Hey, you think the average person's... Do you really think the average person keeps up with any of this shit? That the average person can tell you where Iran is on a map? The average person is watching Clavicular OD himself. Dudes live streaming, walking around streets. That one guy, fucking the black dude with the huge ass mouth that doesn't know if chickens come from eggs. Like, this is what they're watching. You know, the average person, we're fucking cooked. These people vote, dude.
And controlled medical use. The bottom line is progress in mental health treatment has not matched the scale of the problem. I want to thank Joe Rogan for helping bring national attention to innovative, potentially life-saving treatments for veterans and others living with mental illness, and for pushing this conversation into the mainstream. I also want to thank Representative Moore.
I like RFK too. He seems, but he was sus, dude. This is what I hate about RFK. He actually put out a tweet saying the greatest health issue for the administration was anti-Semitism. Like, his first job as a health secretary was like handling anti-Semitism. I was like, bro. They got him and Shmuley up there all super close. Some weird relationship there. My man's started out talking about the vaccine and Fauci, and then all of a sudden the switch up came. Fucking A, what's going on?
Rogan Luttrell from Texas and former Navy SEAL Marcus Luttrell for their leadership on this issue. I also want to thank the CEO of Americans for Livestock, Brian Hubbard, and the organization's ambassador, former Navy SEAL Henry Berkowitz, and former SEAL Team 6 Rob O'Neill. I want to thank a couple of people for getting
promising treatments. That's why there's a sense of urgency around this. That's why we're doing it now. The applications are about to come in, so this is the natural, perfect timing for this announcement. For many men and women, they have been fighting battles on the ground. But even after the wars are over, those battles continue in their mind. Now, there are a lot of medications in medicine where we don't know exactly how it works, but we see profound results. If we actually listen to those who experience the therapeutic value, we can learn as a medical field. We just have to listen. The stories of those individuals with dramatic results, that is data. That is scientific data, even from a single individual. We also have randomized controlled trials. And we have to do that because we need to be able to say there's good support when we recommend these therapeutics. If you look at those trials, there's a 30 to 40% remission rate for conditions like PTSD. Otherwise, we got nothing. We have almost nothing for these conditions. And today, the FDA is also announcing the first ibogaine investigational new drug clearance. This will pave the way for the first and ever human trials in the United States. To be clear, the FDA will also have criteria and circumstances that have to be used to administer these drugs. These drugs can have side effects, and so it's not like you go to the pharmacy and pick it up. It's like medications that are administered in an ICU or an operating room.
I told you. Limited.
There are criteria for...
Let people take peptides, bro. Fuck off. Let people take their psychedelics. Just fuck off. Seriously, this Nixon era bullshit, we're over that already. Get out of my business.
Doing it in a controlled setting. Finally, given the urgency...
Yeah, so your mushrooms are now going to cost $600 a dose.
Today's mental health crisis, I just want to thank you, Mr. President, and say the FDA is proud to support this broader effort to evaluate new therapeutics for some of the greatest Americans we have in this country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Doing a great job, too. Appreciate it. Marcus?
Yes, sir. To start off, Mr. President, thank you so much for having us in here and doing this. You're going to save a lot of lives with it.
Yeah, Marcus,
I'd like to say how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to go through the program and receive the ibogaine. It absolutely changed my life for the better. I went through a lot of the programs that the veterans are going through, and I always kind of felt like I was a victim coming out of that.
What a roster we got here.
When I came out of this, I felt like I had gotten my life back. That was 5 years ago. I literally lived the best days of my life every single day. I'm so thankful for everybody who's in this room to help out with this. I know this is kind of a new frontier for us, and just the fact that we're taking this kind of slow, smooth as fast, and we're getting it in there so we can test this out so that we don't get ahead of ourselves. I think that's very impactful. I think there's a lot of people out there that need help, not only our veterans, but our civilian population that can benefit from this. And it's going to do great things for our country to get it back on track and open up a lot of doorways and pathways for us to be successful in the future. Thank you for your time.
That's fantastic. So you've had this 5 years?
Yes, sir.
And it's just been a whole different thing.
Every single day is a better day for me.
Wow, that's amazing, really.
I can vouch for that.
Come here, this guy's got guts. Come here, these guys. Two good guys. I didn't realize you were involved in it already. It's the best testament you can have. There's nothing better than that.
That's so cool.
A man who's really respected by everybody, and he's a fantastic person. Joe Rogan, to say a few words, please, Joe.
Well, I want to say that I'm here because of the man to my left. Brian Hubbard and former Texas Governor Rick Perry came on my podcast. They told me how impactful this medicine is. And having that conversation with them, millions of people got a chance to hear their story, hear the stories of all the different people that have had life-changing experiences from it. And I want Brian to be able to speak about this.
Good. Brian, please.
Dude, this is like... This is what it should have been the entire time. This would have made leftist heads explode. Dude, this is great. This is what it should be the entire... Imagine being a leftist and seeing this shit. How are you going to hate on Trump for allowing terminal people to do experimental drugs? How are you going to hate on Trump for allowing psychedelics? How are you going to hate on Trump for deregulating marijuana? How are you going to hate... Dude, they would have had nothing. These are all policies the left would have fought for. They would have been destroyed. The Democrats would be a dead party. The only reason they even have a shot is because somehow snatching victory from the jaws of defeat has become the Republican Party now. It's so crazy.
I heard that, Joe. You have no trouble speaking. had no trouble speaking.
I want to assure you that my presence here is the most concrete affirmation that God has a wonderful sense of humor. Thank you. Thank you. Federal prohibition of psychedelic medicine in America is over.
Okay, we got to slow it down because he's got the southern twang. And in order for it to hit, you got to hear it at normal speed. My man, it's been a while since I heard that. I haven't been in Georgia in a minute.
On the 250th year.
Tell him, brother.
On the 250th year of our nation's founding, everyone who has fought for this day through decades of monumental struggle, sacrifice, and suffering can now declare a
sounds like home to
victory
my ears
for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeehaw.
Rights we bear as images of our eternal Creator.
That's real America right there. No bullshit and liberals in these parts, boy. We bleed red, white, and blue around these here woods.
Whose essence is almighty, eternal, unconditional love for each and every one of us.
Yes, sir.
This is the end of the beginning. We have moved mountains,
biblical,
yet there are mountains to move.
Preach.
Government systems which have relentlessly suppressed psychedelics are the same systems which will now manage their emergence. We dare not let our guard down for 1 second and be hair trigger ready to impose accountability for incompetence, obstruction, or failure. Credit belongs where credit is due.
Amen.
With this executive order, President Trump has delivered an epic victory for all humanity.
Goddamn right.
I thank him for having the courage to make this happen, and my mission brother, Joe Rogan, for having the spine to make the ask. To our brothers and sisters in Gabon, you have our deepest gratitude for your stewardship of the sacred tree grown for the healing of nations. I will do my best to deliver the respect and honor you deserve for helping heal this nation. It is my joy to deliver these good tidings unto the meek, which will hopefully bind up the brokenhearted, proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to all who are bound. God bless you.
God damn, man. What a speech. Can't do it like a Southerner does it. You can't.
God bless America.
God bless.
I want to tell everybody how this happened. I sent President Trump some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With 1 dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick.
Wow.
These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free of that now. Thanks to all these people that we see next to me, and thanks to President Trump.
That's crazy. Good job,
We
Joe.
all respect Joe, and he's a little bit more liberal than. That's okay. I have a lot of friends that are liberal, but Joe is an amazing guy, and he wrote me a little note about this, and I had it checked out. I didn't just do it. I had it checked out. I went to Bobby and Oz. I went to some of the people that work for you, Real Pros, and everybody came back with the same answer. You know, normally they'll come back, because this happens a lot. I have a couple of them like that, where they're not sure. It's like, you know, it goes 2 ways. This thing, everybody thought it was incredible. And I told Bobby, I said, Bobby.
Yeah, because Joe doesn't support the war. Look, it's good. He is playing an important role, specifically here, super visible on psychedelics, but you know that's not the only thing they're discussing. You know, he broached the subject of the Iran war and Trump's, you know, popularity with the base and conservatives, and you want to have these people that will at least nudge him with a little bit of truth, because if you surround yourself with yes men, you end up in like a Nero situation where he's a complete madman and nobody has a leash on him, and you know he's detached from reality completely. So it's good. This is a good sign.
Let's just do it and get Oz involved, and it's going to get done so quickly. And you guys did a great job. Would you like to say something else?
Mr. President, I want to thank Matt Zorn, who's hiding in the back there, who actually on Sunday wrote a draft for this. You already thanked Heidi and Kelly, but you know, Susie Wiles makes everything run here. This was an unimaginable task in 1 week to be able to go from a series of connections and communications with Joe Rogan through the honey badger of them all, Bobby Kennedy, who said, we're not going to stop. We didn't start calling everyone down the pike. Steph Spears been involved, and Chris Klump, who's been doing a fantastic.
Okay, let's see the signing.
Very, very strongly. Thank you very much, both.
Sleep for the first time.
Can they codify it?
Good, that's a good one. Oh, I wanted this one to be. See that, Joe? You think Biden can do that? He can. Do you have any questions of the folks? And I think we'll keep it on the subject pretty much. You'll have some questions on Iran, I know that. But this is such an important subject that I'd rather let this just speak for itself. And we'll be talking about Iran later. We have very good conversations going on. It's working out very well. They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years. Nobody ever took them on. We took them on. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no leaders. They have no nothing. Actually, their leaders are, it is regime change. You call that enforced regime change. But we're talking to them. They wanted to close up the strait again, you know, as they've been doing for years. And they can't blackmail us. In fact, a lot of the ships are coming up to Texas. I don't know if you know, in Louisiana, the ships are coming up. They got used to it. Maybe they'll keep doing it. It's worked out pretty good.
It was a good while last.
It's going actually along very well. And we'll see. But we'll have some information by the end of the day. We're talking to them. And, you know, we're taking a tough stand. They've killed a lot of people. A lot of our people have been killed. A lot of your fellow soldiers have been killed over the years by Iran. The roadside bomb. Soleimani, I killed Soleimani.
He was making the explosive form penetrators. They were making them in Iran, bringing them to Iraq and blasting through the vehicles.
Well, he was the father of the roadside bomb, essentially, and he killed a lot of people. And when you see soldiers, or others, but soldiers generally walking around with no legs, with no arms, a face that's been smashed, that was Soleimani, that was Iran that did that. So we have a much different view on it than other presidents. They've gotten away with murder for 47 years. They're not getting away with it anymore. Does anybody have any questions with the great professionals, please?
So I wanted to know, could this potentially ever be available through the VA? You know, because I was talking to Wiz over here. One of you guys went down.
That might be the why. Make sure that the FDA and NIH of Americans have a diagnosable.
I want to see if this is the speech where he just cuts shit off when he gets called about Iran.
Look at what's happened as we've prescribed them. They want to.
You don't know.
Part of have been eroded because of pathology.
Well, I want to thank everybody, and
that's why I say I was one of those doctors.
Sounds good to me.
Mr. President, it's going to
be. All right. Hey, look, a little bit of sunshine through the clouds, right? You can't be perfect, man. It is what it is. We have a bunch of videos, man. I don't know. We're going to get through a couple more. Let's do a shorty. They changed something in our food and people feel it. What are these? What the hell even is that?
Imitation eggs might be replacing real ones, and this Dunkin' customer caught it on camera, peeling the yolk off like paint.
This reheated puck is made without cracking a single egg. Dunkin's egg is held together with 12 ingredients. It starts as liquefied factory yolks, stretched with soybean oil, then seared at 70 degrees and
Dude, my girl for the first time saw McDonald's. Somebody ordered McDonald's at midnight. We didn't know. Obviously, they got the wrong address, so we went outside to go get Amazon packages that may have been delivered. You had a cold. Pretty much, he ordered a, what the fuck did he order? He had a chicken sandwich. He had a double Big Mac, and then he had a McFlurry and fries. Disgusting, bro. 11:47. Who are you? You're in my neighborhood. You're disgusting. That's what you eat at midnight. And you fucking paid for delivery. Sick. And She's like, you know, opening the bag, looking at it. Dude, the patty, what the hell even is that? I haven't been to McDonald's in so long, obviously. Explain to me how they can possibly charge you. I don't even remember what this dude paid, but he got raped. The Big Mac, double patty, it's like paper thin, bro. It was as thin as probably the rim of my hat. Seriously, I'm not even joking. It was as thick as the rim of my hat, small like this. Talk about shrinkflation. Super small. And it was 2 of them because you got the double Big Mac. And I'm looking at that. And then you look at the picture in the promotion materials of what a Big Mac looks like. It looks nothing like that. It was all bread, very little meat, thin as the rim of my hat. And they charge that boy, I don't know, you got to pay, what is that, over $20 plus delivery? Holy shit. Why do you do that to your body? You can go to Costco and get those big packs of chicken that are individual. It's like $2.99 a pound, bro. $2.99 a pound. And you can get an entire pack for like $15. Pounds of meat. You got fucking McDonald's and the McFlurry on top of that. McSlop. Supreme Goy actions lead to Supreme Goy lifestyles. You're probably, I don't know what this person looks like. I can guess you are fat, you're unhealthy, you're probably diabetic, you're probably not active, you don't give a fuck about your health, you're probably costing us money in fucking Medicare, Medicaid. Holy shit. Goy outcomes. Talk about them. Vote. These people vote, bro. The guy who ordered McDonald's at midnight and got a McFlurry going to bed with pure sugar in his system, knowingly poisons himself, is the same dude that votes. That's crazy. That's the same person that has a moral high ground on us. That's the same person that's going to tell us how we should live and what we should do. Bro, you eat McFlurries at midnight. Don't talk to me. You can't. You're subhuman. If you order McDonald's, you're subhuman. You quite literally eat food that's not manufactured for human consumption. That's what you think. That's how low you think of yourself. Some dude in the comment tomorrow is going to be like, you can't say that. Some of us can't afford real food. Shut the fuck up. I'm so sick of hearing about this food desert. Healthy food is expensive. Bitch, you can go buy a 25-pound bag of rice for less than $25. Then cheap chicken packs at fucking Costco and be good to eat for weeks. Much cheaper than your slop McFlurry. You're disgusting. You're subhuman. You filled your blood with sugar and then you complain your joints ache in the morning when you wake up. Your back hurts. Your brain is foggy. You struggle to breathe. You sweat walking upstairs. You're subhuman.
Industrial pipes. That slurry gets drenched in tap water and bulked with the same thickener used in latex paint, then frozen for weeks, shipped and cooked for the 3rd time in a microwave. Subway, Burger King, and Starbucks scanned the same industrial eggs, thickened with a gum linked to gut damage.
Look at this shit.
Look at this shit.
Fuck is that?
Put a magnet that I got from here into the Great Value Chicken.
Hey, this is a farm boy. I'm in the flower section of the grocery store. I wrote up something, a whole bunch of somethings. When it comes to flour, things are changing in the world. Have you ever heard of cricket flour? There are at least 6 or 7 countries in this companies in this world that's now using crickets, insects, to make flour. According to Dover's, PepsiCo is looking to use cricket proteins in products such as Cheetos and Quaker granola oats. Insect Gourmet says insect-related businesses in the Western world.
I'm no longer drinking Goitorade, so don't worry about it. This is homemade coffee by my woman, my own homemade latte with fresh roasted beans and heavy cream, organic only. I haven't touched Goitorade or any energy drinks or nothing. I ate nothing but steak and chicken with asparagus or homemade salads and whatever else she's cooking. Baked chicken drumsticks surrounded by beautiful sweet potatoes, salt, pepper. That's it. Cooked in tallow or olive oil. I ain't touching shit.
World.
No, she's not growing it, but the coffee's made roasted here by a local company. This is freshly roasted coffee from fresh beans.
Are producing insect proteins for foods,
Who the fuck said she's growing coffee? What are you, retarded? This guy said she's growing coffee. Man, come on, man, with that 80 fucking IQ, give me that comment right there. Ain't no way cuz growing coffee at home. What the fuck are you even talking about? Is this guy serious right now? Who the fuck said we're growing coffee? Do I look like I got a coffee plantation in fucking Phoenix, Arizona? What kind of shit comment? What shit is that? Do you know how to infer some shit on conversation? Oh my God, bro. Context, please. Connect, infer, critically think. Holy shit. Bro came in here with the ain't no way you're growing that shit, cuz in Phoenix, Arizona, you got a coffee plantation? I hate reading comments from people like that. So literal, bro, with everything. Oh my God. Hit me with an 80 IQ comment to the face. Jeez Louise.
confectionaries, and other things such as butters, oils, and pestos, as well as spice and seasoning. So it's most likely going to show up, not be labeled, and you're not going to know it. In pretty much every...
Look, dude, he's a Redditor. He said, watch the replay, bud. Full caps, he's upset right now. You said homegrown coffee. Yeah, bro, it's called misspoke. I misspoke, okay? People do that when they're rambling. I'm ranting. We're in a live stream. I'm allowed to misspeak. Clearly, you know, you can infer based on what I'm talking about from previous context that you know what I'm talking about. Gary's son is on live stream right now. You got Gary the Boomer, and then you have his son, Peter the Cuck. He's like Reddit mod. Hey, bro. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Hey. You fucking said homegrown coffee. Excuse me. I have to correct. Excuse me. If you go back to 45 minutes and 3 seconds, excuse me, you said homegrown coffee. Actually, you said homegrown coffee, actually. Shut the fuck up.
Thing you eat. It is expected to reach 4.6 billion in sales by 2027 and produce 1.4 million tons of insect protein. ADM, Archer Midland Daniels, is in the process of producing insect foods in Decatur, Illinois right now in partnership with Innova Foods. That's on the ADM website.
You know he's mad
Exo,
right now.
which is a company that makes cricket flour, says that crickets are 60% protein.
I'm just fucking with you, Kay.
Iowa State University etymology department says that crickets are only about 12.9%. And this would explain why the NIH, when they do their comparisons of protein... Actually,
you misspell. There's people like that. I misspell. This is the funniest shit. I misspell titles on YouTube on purpose. There will be thousands of retards commenting, pushing through the algorithm. You didn't know how to spell. You're stupid. Actually, you misspelled this word. And I'm just reading the comment. I'm like, thank you. Push it through the algorithm. More interaction. Appreciate you, bro. They're like, you're an idiot. You don't know how to spell. As they're being psychologically played into commenting on the video. Beautiful, bro. It's called 5D. 5D moves right there.
In cricket flour, they compare them to plants, not animals. Cleveland Clinic said that about 30% of the cricket farms looked at have parasites that carry disease to humans.
Hey, appreciate the sub, bro. Hey.
And that edible insects are as underestimated reserve of human and animal parasites. Yep, Cleveland Clinic said that they are an underestimated reservoir of parasites to humans and animals. According to the NIH, it is stated that they claim that the exoskeletons, or the chitin, is a digestible fiber, but they don't know how it digests. I found that more than just a little curious. And then turn around and say that if you consume chitin, well, it'll trigger immune responses in the body. According to Science Direct, this cricket flower has all the markings for high levels of detectable arsenic. The NIH says that
appreciate you guys.
Novel
Thank you.
foods such as crickets show presence of arsenic, aluminum, cadmium, chromium, and mercury in all those edible insects. This is a farm boy. That's what's going to be in our food supply soon. You need to get used to it.
So they say there's a beef shortage. So explain this. McDonald's sells about 6 to 7 million burgers every single day in the United States. Burger King sells around 2 million. Wendy's sells around 1 million. That's roughly 15 to 18 million fast food burgers every day during a shortage. Cattle herds are supposedly the lowest they've been since the 1950s. Ranchers are selling off cows. Beef prices keep climbing, but the burger machine never stops. So where is all that meat coming from? Imports?
That's a good question.
Blended beef? Long-term contracts?
Disgusting.
Russell Adler donated $5. But the highlight of my existence is when COD launches a new goon skin. Ideally when they show a lot of cheeks. I purchase them immediately. I've accepted this will be the destiny and cannot help it.
Bruh. You are fucking triggering me. That's a troll. That's a troll. I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. There's no fucking way. No way, dude. I refuse to believe. I'm going to just refuse to believe somebody watches my channel, is tuned into the live streams, and type that out without trolling me. No fucking way. That's too on the nose. There's no way. There's no way. That was good though, but there's no way. Yeah, it has to be bait. No fucking way, bro. I know those people exist. They're just not in this aisle here. There's no way. I'm not falling for it. Thank you. Not baiting me with that one.
Or our 3D printer somewhere just spitting out steaks 24/7. Lab-grown meat, it exists. 3D printer, 3D printed meat also exists. And companies are pouring money into it. I'm not saying that's where or what we're eating. I'm saying the math, it just doesn't sit right. 15 million burgers a day doesn't happen by accident. So what do you think is really going on?
Where are they getting all the beef from? McDonald's is over the entire map of the United States.
This is actually a really good question. What the
We
fuck?
consume 158,000 cows per day. 78 million pounds of beef per day. How can we do that? We got 158,000 cows that's slaughtered every single day. We can sustain that. It's not adding up to me. It's not adding up at all. It's not adding up.
Is there anybody else scared to eat? I'm getting scared to eat. If I don't cook it myself, or if I don't know where the food came from, it's like I don't want to go to the supermarket anymore. I only want to go to those like vegetable
True.
markets where people bring in.
Dude, you can't trust shit. You can't trust shit unless you're going, and this is super stupid that it has to be this way, but unless you're going to like a 5-star restaurant where obviously their reputation precedes them, you cannot afford to eat out anywhere else because you're probably putting absolute slop in your body. What is this meat mixed with? What are the regulations for all this mass production of these fast food joints and all these, you know, franchises that are selling you all this easy to access cheap food? What is that even? Clearly, we don't have an FDA that gives a fuck about our health, so why would you? Pink slime. Yeah, I remember the pink slime. What was that, Taco Bell? Who the fuck was getting a lot of shit for pink slime that they were putting into their food? Crazy.
Their produce and resell what they've grown at home. And I only want to get my meat from somebody.
Pink slime was McDonald's and the chicken nuggets. Yeah. Chicken nuggets, but not a bit of chicken in there. Or well, the chickens that were in there was what? Cartilage, bones, like beaks, feet, pus. You were eating pus-filled nuggies. Give me them nuggies, bro. Scrap meat for dogs. They figured out how to take the chicken scratch, the scrap of the leftover that you fed the animals back in the day that was not human edible. And you eat that shit. So good. I love my chicken nuggets with my sugar ketchup.
Who has a beef farm or a chicken farm. It's like, I am scared to eat anything at the supermarket anymore. And God forbid, I don't do fast food.
If you want to hear a scary and interesting story, watch this video. My wife and I, we just got back from our trip to Brazil. We were there for 3 weeks, and she's from Brazil originally, so we went to go visit her family. Now, prior to the trip, we cut out eating rice and like potato chips and things like that. We used to eat.
Oh, yeah. The one thing I miss from Europe, food, bro. I could stop into any place and eat the grocery store. It didn't matter. You got real food. Any little restaurant, food was real. Food tastes amazing. Shit. Golly.
Something crunchy with like every single meal. And we used to eat rice almost every single meal. Cut that out for like 3 months, lost weight, went to Brazil. And once we got to Brazil, we ate so much food all the time. Some of you know, some of you don't. I'm a bariatric patient, so my stomach is not as big as it used to be. And I was still eating so much food all the time. I'm talking chocolates, brownies, rice, beans, and meat every single day, French fries every single day. The traditional Brazilian meal is rice, beans, farofa, French fries, meat, salad, these kinds of things. Vinaigrette, which is like it's like a pico de gallo Brazilian style. Picanha every single day, meat, carne every single day. You name it, we ate it. And we were like, oh shit, when we get home, we're gonna step on that.
Dude, you were so deep in the slop, you had to get gastric bypass. They had to cut his stomach down so the dude could just stop eating. What? I guess.
Scale, it's gonna be a whole different story. And we got home and we stepped on the scale, both of us, and we both lost weight. Now here's the interesting part. We have been back for 3 days. We landed on Wednesday at 7 a.m. The first thing we got, since we'd been gone, our fridge was empty, our house was empty. The first thing we got...
Don't fucking tell me McDonald's, bro, or fast food.
...was breakfast. We just ordered Uber Eats from this diner down the street.
Oh my God, dude. Hey, bro, we're back in America where food is poison, so the first thing we're gonna do is straight up poison myself.
Bruh.
Do they hear themselves speaking? And then we came back to America and we gained all the weight back. How the fuck could this happen? Oh, why? Why can't my McDonald's make me lose weight? You're subhuman.
Fake eggs, you know, crappy ass hash browns, sausage links, whatever. Just to put food in our stomachs while we were home until we figured out groceries and everything. I got some shredded beef from Trader Joe's, peppers, onions, tomatoes, cooked up some food the last couple of days. Even used some of like the stock freezer food that you can just pop real quickly and eat.
Bro. freezer food. Have you looked at the back of the fucking box for freezer food and you can see the list of ingredients is like a whole fucking novella with the amount of chemicals that's in there? Freezer food, bro. I just want some freezer food. Who has ever uttered the fucking words out loud? I'm really craving some freezer food. I haven't stepped in the freezer food aisle in probably 7-8 years. Who the fuck buys boxed meals? Who the fuck buys boxed, pre-made, microwave-ready meals in America at this point in time? Here comes the fucking commenter. Actually, you fucking food deserts, bro. I can't afford to cook fresh food. Actually, you're so fucking rich. You just told on your actually self. Actually, not everyone knows how to cook. Actually, shut up. Fucking TV dinners, bro. Actually, fucking subhuman.
Easy. There was like raviolis and meatballs from Trader Joe's. 24 hours after we were in LA, we woke up the next day and we had the worst headaches ever for hours. Feeling sluggish, feeling tired. We know jet lag. This was not jet lag. I can't even fathom the fact that I was able to consume as much food and a variety of different foods, from sweets to drinking guarana and Coke Zeros over there to eating as much as we want, just to coming back here for one day to the United States and eating the food that we ate, both home cooked and ordered. Amazon. And we both felt as shitty as we felt in 24 hours.
Okay, I just have to talk about this because literally nobody talks about it, but food in America is so bad. Like, genuinely, every time I go on vacation, when I'm supposed to be, like, eating whatever I want, and I do, I end up losing weight. Because the food here is so terrible for us. Not just the fast food, genuinely, like, everything. I don't know, like, what they put in the food, but it's terrible. Like, there's something wrong with American food, and as a whole, honestly, but I don't know.
You know what's really interesting is that there are so many countries.
Anywho, they poisoned the food to feed the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. They wanted us sick. Dude still orders fucking McDonald's at 11 at night. Our food is banned in other countries. Think about that. Proceeds to go to fucking Arby's and smash fake meat. They're poisoning our food, our water, and our skies, among other things. Goes to the store and buys the red cap, cheap fucking milk that's just pus from a cow's tit. Food is the new weapon of mass destruction. Probably has Chips Ahoy in the car right now. It's not just profit. The elites actually despise us. Continues eating the goy slop like nothing ever happened. And whatever, bro, you only live once. They want us dead. How can anyone not realize this yet? Is one of the ones propping up the industry by buying the slop. Our government is evil. Please make decisions for me. I can't eat clean myself. I can't. The fucking Jews. It's like they're fucking hypnotoads. I can't stop. I must have all the poison. Fuck off. These people are the problem. It's extremely easy to eat healthy in America and cleanly. Go buy whole food ingredient food. Cook it yourself. You fucking toad. You eat TV dinners. Why am I being poisoned? The dude's got Chips Ahoy and fucking Kit Kats and graham and crackers and all this other shit that he's eating. Whatever the fuck. What are the candies? I don't even know. Butterfingers and what's some other shit? Hershey's and whatever the fuck else. The Jews made me do it. Fuck, bro. This is the big corporations made me do it. Oh yeah, dude. You pulled up in the McDonald's drive-thru and we're like, this chemical meat smells great. I can't wait. And then you fucking opened up that nasty ass McDonald's bag, right? As you're starving. And somehow, some way, as you're looking at what this thing they call a burger, what did the McDonald's CEO couldn't even eat that slop. And you're looking at this thing, this product. We have this product here. He calls it a product. He doesn't even call that shit a fucking burger. And then you open it and you see what looks like some dude who splooged on your sandwich, right? That shit's not even mayo or whatever the fuck. You have this thing, these 2 slices of pickles, if you can call that a pickle. And then you have this thing they call lettuce. Is it even? With your fake meat, we already know is not even real. Pink slime. They put some shit in their product called pink slime. So how far are they willing to go? And then you're taking a bite of this and you're going, satisfactory. And you just got raped for $20-something. You could have literally shopped and ate a home-cooked meal for that same $20. With the fucking grease, that leftover oil from like 700 moons ago that gives the fries that shitty flavor. Eats it. You're literally sucking up, you're ingesting oil made for cars. Mechanical fluids are going into your body for machines. And you're going, so good, so tasty. And then an hour later, you're hungry again because the chemical slop just disrupted your entire hormonal system. Your brain, the signals that were sent from the gut just fried your fucking neurons. I need more. Fast forward a couple of years, you look like shit, you feel like shit, your fucking body's breaking down on you, you're dependent on 10 different pills just to survive day to day. Why did America do this to me? Big corporations did this to me. Oh, really, bro? Really? Ain't that some shit, bro? We're on this train of everybody did it to me. Give me that. Give me that healthy food. I'm sick of these kinds of people. Honestly, I got fatigue for these people that dodge accountability. Everybody on all fucking aisles. I'm just firing shots. Is our food poison? Yeah, it is, bro. Are there food deserts? I'm sure in communities where people steal all the time. Stop fucking stealing, stupid. Stop driving businesses away. Did your mama teach you how to cook? Probably not. Well, it's your job as an adult to learn how to fucking cook. And then take your shitty car and drive it a little further to Costco and go buy some food in bulk. I don't have money. Actually, I will poison myself by what? Overspending at McDonald's? Or other fast food places? Do you see what inflation has done? A McDonald's meal costs more than eating a home-cooked meal now. You're not getting your dollar menu, bro. You're not walking away with a full meal for like $3. That shit's over with. Those days are gone. You're paying McDonald's sit-down prices. That's what you used to pay to go to like fucking Red Lobster or Olive Garden or something. It's bullshit, bro. It's cope. We live in a society that they do nothing but cope and pretend they're victims. Every time you try to talk to people and like, here's what you got to do to better yourself. Bro, cope and victimization. That's all you get in the world today. This shit is exhausting. You want to talk about eating clean? The cope and the victimhoods. They come out in the comment section, bro. Not everyone knows how to cook. Not everyone has access to clean food. Not everyone. Shut up. Fuck off. You're subhuman. Same shit when you start a business. Talking about making money, starting a business. I can start a business. You're subhuman. Shut the fuck up. We're done. We're done. On this side of the aisle, we make shit happen. We cook food. We figure out how to read ingredient labels. We invest the little money we do have to start a business. We're retard maxing, coding shit up. We're not coders. We create and we attempt and we try. We're done with you retards and your victimhood and all this other shit. You're getting poisoned by choice, bro. We already know it's all poison. You choose to consume the shit. That's your fucking fault. Go die, jack off alone. We don't give a fuck. It's hard to date. It's hard to find a good woman. We're still out here trying. We're still making moves happen. We're still in the game. You can fuck off, subhuman. Go do your own shit. We're here starting businesses. We're attempting. There might fail. 99% of them do. We might be losing money. Doesn't matter. We're trying because the alternative is worse. The alternative is it will be hell. And that's the messaging. The alternative is if you keep eating slop, you will live a hellacious life. Dependent on big pharma to keep you alive. You have no choice, bro. We understand that already. We moved on. We're on another section here. The section on this side goes, yeah, the world's fucked. Still got to try, cause it'll be fucked if we don't anyways. So hey bro, if you gave up already, die with your dick in your hand. Go blame Jews, go blame blacks, go blame the government, go blame the FDA, go blame the world. You can go blame whoever the fuck you want to. Die alone with your dick in your hand. That is going to be your destiny. We're not interested in that shit on this side of the aisle. We will attempt, get rich or die trying. That's it. Shoot or shoot. That's where we're at right here. This is the shooters and we're taking shots. You can sit there and watch everybody else. Okay? They say there's 3 people in this world, right? It's those that, what is it? I remember that was such a good quote, dude. It was like, there's those that watch. What was that quote? I gotta find it. Hold on. It's like there's those that are watching things happen, those making things happen, and those talking about things happening. Some shit like that. Be the dude that makes shit happen. Don't be the dude talking about shit that's happening. And don't be the dude watching things as they happen. Make shit happen. Yeah. That shit's exhausting to be around, dude. Literally, the naysayers, like, they suck. They suck the life out of everything. The naysayers. Yeah, there are 3 types of people in the world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. There we go. That's what it was. Yeah, don't let the opportunities go by you, dude. Waking up one day, you're 50 years old, and holy shit, what happened? Can't be me, dude. Can't be me. We're raised to be fighters. We got fucking warrior blood in our genes. Seriously, we come from absolute animals, savages. Raised up civilizations, survived fucking plagues, invasions. Do you know what is coursing through your fucking veins to get you here in this point in time alone? The shit that your people have struggled and strived and survived for you to give up? Please, bro, get that bitch talk away from me. You sound like a straight hoe. Allow life to fuck you for free. No thanks. We charge over here. Life fucks everybody. We're charging. We're getting paid at least. You can go get boned for free. Like a dumb hoe. Do you. Okay? Everybody's getting pimped out here and there. We're all hoes. We're all getting pimped by your boss at work, your company you're working for, the business you own. Everyone's getting pimped. It's how long you allow yourself to get pimped. That's the problem. That's the point of trying to escape. So one day you're your own man. Motherfuckers don't know, dude. We charge over here. New shirt. Yeah, just saying. Motherfuckers are so worried about the wrong fucking shit, dude. Hey, worry about what you put in your mouth. Worry about moving your stale ass body. Worry about your fucking bank account and increasing it. Yeah? How about that? We're all hoes in the game. You're choosing to get hoed out for free. The rest of us want to get paid. Just fucking saying. I think that about does it for today, boys. Right? We got a 3-hour stream right on the dot. Right on the dot. I got to get up, move my body, eat some food. Thank you, everybody that's been tuning in. As usual, boys. Shout out to everybody that's been getting the shirts. All the other merch. Appreciate it. Hope you like it. Hey, Bo. Thank you for getting me into Claude. Using Grok to make prompts and then putting them into Claude 8. And appreciate everybody that subbed. Both to the private communities and joining us on the calls. Would love to have you. Appreciate everybody that's subscribing over on Kick and all the other platforms. Constantly they're reoccurring. That helps tremendously. Thank you guys so much. All the donators on super chatting on YouTube and everything else. Thank you guys. Hope you've had a great weekend and hope you have a good start on Monday. Always roll out of bed, positive thoughts. Boys, even if shit ain't going right, set the tone for the day. Could be worse. So appreciate what you got, right? Start the day thinking good, doing good things, and getting good outcomes. That's how it starts, man. It's all up here. Thoughts lead to actions, which lead to outcomes. That's simple. Don't be a negative Nancy. It's hard. Could be harder. And tell the people around you you love them. Value your health. And keep on trucking and reach your goals. Never stop. One foot in front of the other. All right? Take care, boys. We will see you maybe Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Not sure yet. We missed streaming for the last 2 days, so we might try to catch up. We'll see. Anyways, I'll catch everybody else in the private community for sure tomorrow, our usual time. And we will continue. See what happens with the world. Take care, guys.